Welcome to America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to be with you on this Friday afternoon. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Rebel Weekend coming up. Stymie here in New York. We'll preview both of those races. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. We have the third coming up next here in just moments at Oaklawn. And, of course, into the card here in New York with the feature still ahead.
I agree. A sloppy track today, but I think we've seen a sort of a mix of running styles here, some logical results, and we'll see how things play out. Looking forward to Oaklawn as well. As you mentioned, big weekend with the Rebel.
Third at Oaklawn, $10,000 maiden claiming race. We're going to try and sneak in Jonathan Kinchin here in just a second. 5.5 furlongs. And they're third on the card coming up. As we get a quick look at the track out there. Freer taking plenty of support. Holiday Ticket, the 2 Kenny McPeak with David Cohen taking money as well. So it's 2 on the inside, really dominating the wagering here.
I agree. I thought the 1 Freer is a little bit of, obviously a possible winner. The 1, 2, and 3 seem like the most logical, unless you want a first-time star like Razor Ray, who's actually taking some money, the number 6 horse. I thought Confess might be the one I wanted, the horses with experience a little more. That horse is 7-1 right now, coming off a layoff. I just thought that horse might be a little bit interesting in here. I don't have a big knock on either of the inside 2 horses. It's just, Greg, I don't love drop downs off the claim like the 1 Freer.
Yeah, and he's had plenty of opportunities
short prices
as well. And interesting that Steve Asmussen claims a horse for $20,000.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the great appeal was. And maybe Steve's asking himself the same question after he claimed it for 20 and he drops him in for 10. And he's been some short prices. I don't know. Do you find the money that Razor Ray is taking a little bit interesting in this race? Feels like a firster that could be any price, right?
Yeah, 7-1 on a first-time starter with not a ton really in the work tab. Jonathan Kinchin with us as well. We're a minute to post here in Hot Springs. JK, your thoughts on this race coming up?
Yeah, look, this is one of those situations where you always have to try to evaluate whether or not to take the favorites in these situations, whether it be Steve or whether it be someone like Chad Brown we see all the time in Saratoga. Let's see. I felt like the inside was the horse that you wanted. This horse took a lot of money last time, didn't run particularly well. But I do think that there's a situation where when Steve jumps in and takes one and claims one for himself, I think there's a lot to be said about that. I always follow those types of horses. And like I said, the horse took a lot of money last time, did not run well, took a lot of money. The horse is taking money again here today. It feels like that's the one that I would like to lean on, especially on a track like this. I like a horse drawn towards the inside because you know you're going to get that hustle away from there. No one wants to get stuck in behind on a muddy racetrack. So I thought the inside with Ramon Vasquez and Steve Asmussen was the one that you wanted in here.
3-1. JK, thanks. You could play all the action we're bringing you on the program each and every day with Now Bets. Get signed up, started. $200 sign-up bonus for new members. There's the offer. When you use that code right there, bonus 200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get signed up with some big races ahead this weekend. And, of course, we're going to talk plenty about that Rebel. Newgrange putting that perfect record on the line for Bob Baffert, even though, to this point, can't collect any Derby points.
No, and he's not going to collect any if he's successful or hits the board at all in tomorrow's race. Feels like maybe a new face might be the biggest threat, whether it's the Steve Asmussen runner or perhaps Wayne Lucas's horse off the maiden win. You know, Jonathan mentions the wet track, and with the horse I mentioned, Confess. I don't worry a lot about wet tracks, but I don't think it should be ignored that if you look at the last 5 races for Confess, 3 of them were on sealed tracks and they were awful. The 2 that were on fast tracks, unsealed tracks, were actually reasonable. So maybe this horse is not going to like the going today.
7-1 right now on him. Loading up. Holiday Ticket, McPeak, Cohen. This one, gosh, just steadily dropping down the ladder. Not a great sign. 75 to 50 to 40 to 30, now 10.
Yeah, but he does hit the bottom for the first time, and frankly, at a slightly better price, I'd gamble with Holiday Ticket over Freer.
Third from Oaklawn, our first live race here on our Friday coverage. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
To load our warning label and Samurai Island. Samurai Island to the outside. They're at the post. They're off. Outcome and Freer break well. Holiday Ticket is close up. Samurai Island in the middle. Confess is close up as well. Warning Ladle and Looking Good So Far with Just Dennis, Mountain Pine, and the trailer is Razor Ray. The leader is Freer up the backstretch, and he's got a length and a half lead on Confess in second. Then it's a length to Outcome in third. Another length to Samurai Island. At the rail, Holiday Ticket is fifth now, and about 5 from the front and 2 in front of Looking Good So Far and Warning Label. 3.5 back to Just Dennis. Another 8 to Mountain Pine. Razor Ray is the trailer in a strung out field, and it's Freer who is stringing them out. It is Freer with a big lead at the top of the stretch. It's a 3-length lead over Holiday Ticket, who has just moved into second, and now he's coming after the front-running Freer. 2.5 back to Looking Good So Far. Holiday Ticket is on the move outside of Freer. Freer has the lead, but Holiday Ticket is alongside, and now these two will come to the final 16th, but the one with the momentum is Holiday Ticket, and he takes charge. Freer is second. Then comes Outcome. Holiday Ticket in front. Holiday Ticket beat Freer by a length and a half. Outcome was third. Looking Good So Far. Finished fourth.
6th career start, and he finally found the right field to take advantage of Holiday Ticket.
Yeah, that's what those drop downs have a way of doing, and that's why they get bet a lot. In this case, Ken McPeak, who has not been having a huge 2022, though he has some big races to come, much bigger than this one, that are more important, but he gets it done. It felt like Freer was cruising along in the front end, Greg, but coming into the stretch, you saw him start to drift. Not usually a great sign.
2-1, and then a little ways back. Outcome looks like getting third here for Jason Barkley, but Holiday Ticket pulls away for the win. Here in the third at Oaklawn. Big weekend coming up, as all eyes really on the road to the Oaks and Derby going to be centered squarely on Hot Springs, Arkansas, with more what to look ahead to. Let's check in with our Hall of Famer Gary Stevens and Lafitte Pinkai. Hey, guys.
Greg, so much excitement here at Oaklawn Park on the eve of the biggest day of the meet so far at Oaklawn Park. Tomorrow, the Rebel Stakes. It's 30 degrees here today, cold. It's going to be cold again tomorrow, Gary. That's a big part of the story. Another big part of the story is New Grange. The Southwest winner is back, supplemented into the Rebel, the morning line favorite. How good do you think he is?
I think he's very good. For a horse that didn't supposedly handle the track, it appeared to me he was not handling the track. I wrote him off at the 5/16 pole. I didn't think he had a chance. Boom, out from the crowd he comes. He gets the money. He's trained forwardly since then. I spoke to Bob Baffert this morning. He worked 58-3 prior to leaving California. He said he's doing much better right now than he was coming into the Southwest. That's scary.
Another big part of the story, New Grange's Hall of Fame trainer, you just mentioned, Bob Baffert. So here's the latest. On Monday, Medina Spirit was disqualified from his victory in last spring's Kentucky Derby by the Kentucky Stewards for a medication violation. For Baffert, his record 7th Derby win vacated, a 90-day suspension. Baffert's attorneys have already appealed the decision. And this is not to be confused with the 2-year suspension Baffert is already serving. From Churchill Downs, can't run horses at Churchill Properties, enter horses in the next 2 Kentucky Derbies, nor can Baffert-trained horses earn points in the Kentucky Derby qualifying races. A big story surrounding New Grange, the favorite for tomorrow's Rebel. There's the field. They were expecting 6 or 7, wound up with 11 3-year-olds, 85 Derby points available for everyone not named New Grange, 50 points to the winner, post time around 6:30 Eastern, Gary. Then about 3 hours before the Rebel Stakes, another key step towards the fantasy, towards the Kentucky Oaks in the Honeybee. Secret Oath is the 3-2 morning line favorite for Dwayne Lucas. How good of a filly are we talking about?
I think she's a very good filly that's still improving. Her race in the Martha Washington was devastating. She had an awesome move into a slow pace. She won at will under Luis Contreras. I look forward to take another big step forward. Look, she's still under consideration for the Arkansas Derby. Wayne has put that out there. She'll earn Oaks points if she wins tomorrow's race. So it'll be interesting to see what Wayne, the Hall of Famer, does.
And it wouldn't be unprecedented for the coach, the legend, Dwayne Lucas, 1984, won the Arkansas Derby with the filly in Althea. And that's where the story is with Lucas historically in 3-year-old fillies. He has trained 6 3-year-old filly champions during the course of his career. He's won 5 Honeybees, 1 more. He'll be the record holder. 4 Kentucky Oaks victories, and the gentleman standing to my left won a Kentucky Derby on a 3-year-old filly for Dwayne Lucas in winning colors. There's the field. for the Honeybee. Key stepping stone towards the Kentucky Oaks. All eyes on Secret Oath, guys, as we get set for a big weekend here at Oaklawn Park. And by the time sun sets tomorrow, we're going to have a much better feel of what this march towards both the Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby looks like.
Guys, thank you. It's going to be a tremendous weekend. And, even though Baffert can't collect any Derby points as we look at today's races presented by Claiborne, he's dominated these preps. He's won 6 of the 21 preps to this point.
He's always loaded, and especially with the horses in California. He does well at Oaklawn Park. I don't really, at this point, listen, he's only run 3 times New Grange, and his races have been okay. So far, to me, he's a horse that has to improve. We've seen some more impressive performances than his. I think, and I don't know about you, Greg, Wayne Lucas, who I'd like to get a little 3-2, by the way, on Secret Oath, and I think you'll agree in the Honeybee. I thought Wayne Lucas's maiden breaker in the Rebel was a very interesting player in there.
Yeah, Ethereal Road, if you've not seen that performance, it is something to behold.
There's so many things to look at. He kind of stumbled after the start. I don't think he really got left. He just stumbled and took himself out of the race. He dropped so far back that when you're watching the replay, and I can imagine, Greg, you had the same feeling, you were trying to figure out which horse he was in the back of the pack, but then you realized he was so far back he wasn't even in the picture, and it's not a race that collapsed. He ran in a completely different race than everybody else, earned a big figure, all things considered. I think he could be a very interesting new case.
And you look at you could say, well, maybe he beat up on a maiden field that's not that good. I actually thought that field was decent.
Oh, I couldn't agree more with you. He got a 79 buyer. The horse is behind him running mid-70s, which may not sound like it's Derby quality, but considering who he ran against and the way his start affected him, I thought it was an incredible performance. I know he's 12-1 morning line, Greg. I would settle for half of that.
Yeah, I don't know way you're going to get that. More of, it seems like a turf pedigree. We'll see if he can keep producing on dirt. I'm going to get a big test on Saturday. 6th from Aqueduct, 6.5 furlong sprint. 14 claiming race, non-winners at 3 lifetime. Demo Doctor. Bob Placeris and Trevor McCarthy will team up right now, the 5-2 favorite, as we get set for the start of the Pick 4. Approaching 50,000 in the pool. We'll have more on it when we come back. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2, and there is the 4-year-old son of Street Magician. And McCarthy will be aboard.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. And we have the Pick 4 coming up in New York. Meanwhile, at Oaklawn, holiday ticket out dueling Freer late stretch for the win, dropping to the lowest level he'd been at yet.
Yeah, and that drop really made a difference. With Freer, he dropped as well, and he ran better than he ran last time, but
We should have known. McPeak with a golden ticket.
that's right. That's right.
Dead heated in the Travers with Alpha.
There you go. So the secret for the golden tickets is Ken McPeak has to be training? Is that what
I
you're saying?
guess so.
I'm wondering what it is. You don't see a lot of golden tickets, do you?
Honestly, I think it's the first one I've ever seen. $5.80 for the victory. Magdalena Racing. David Bernston as well owns part of this one. David Cohen has mentioned aboard.
Yeah, and Magdalena Racing, of course, Ken McPeak stable as well. So they kept it all in the family with a golden ticket, who's apparently, according to the form, standing for $6,000.
A live look of South Ozone Park on this sloppy sealed racetrack as we get set for this Pick 4. Demo Doctor, 5-2 favorite. Trevor McCarthy with the rail inside and a bit of a drop down in class. Let's bring in for the first time on the program today, the MiG.
Thanks, Greg. Kind of a tale of 2 days, isn't it? It was just such inclement weather earlier. It's really gotten nice out, cleared out beautifully, sun shining, and always happy to be here in the Aqueduct paddock. Let's start with the the 3-horse, True Believe. I tell you, Antonio Arriaga, the conditioner, his horses always are so well turned out. He does such a good job. You could see the care that goes into these horses. Their coats are always good. Their weight is always good. Energy level. Well, he's checking all the boxes here in the paddock, the 3 True Believe. For a trainer who maybe doesn't get as much notoriety as some others, but I got to tell you, horses always look good. So I just think a really good horseman. Another horse that looks great from, another trainer that doesn't get as much notoriety is the 6 Macho Boy, Amir Shishakli. This horse ran well last time. Does his best work when he's involved. Shows speed early. Jackie Davis has been riding well, winning races. And he looks terrific. A horse that, has been campaigned pretty steadily. 33 starts in his life. Always carries good weight and is the picture of health. And just on a note, I think a educational point, the 2-horse Papa Tom B from Paul Barrow, real old school kind of horseman move. Horses kind of he's got bandages behind, vet wrap, and then he's got these tape around his coronet bands. And that's when a horse hits themselves. I mean, they have a little bit of a conformational flaw or a little bit of a flaw in the mechanics of their stride. And you don't see that as often, but they'll tape them so the horse doesn't nick himself up as much. And I just really like when I see some old school horsemanship, which I'm seeing there with the 2, Papa Tom B.
MiG, thanks. 9-1 on this 6-year-old son of Flashback.
Yeah, his best races do seem to be at Finger Lakes, and it's interesting how some horses will run well at Finger Lakes, and they just don't transfer that form down. The one, Demo Doctor, is not going to be 5-2 by post time. There's a lot of early money for Irish Giant. Demo Doctor just seems very logical. This is 2 back for him against better horses. Wasn't able to beat Hoopla, who's a heavy favorite, a big speed track, kind of taken out of his game to run with that one because of the way the track was playing. I guess the biggest concern with this horse, Greg, who can handle a wet track, has avoided claim for $25,000 and now drops in for $14,000. To me, that's a bit of a negative, but I'm not going to argue that he's probably going to be in the 6-7-5 range, and he has doors to beat.
Leg up to Trevor McCarthy. Last start, McCarthy he's been aboard the last couple, but Prince James ran a race just figure-wise out of this world for the level.
Yeah, I mean, and Prince James was able to come up a gold rail. Demo Doctor was out in the middle of the racetrack that day, which obviously worked against his best interest and helped Prince James. So I think that helped to exaggerate the difference between the 2 horses. Overall, I think Demo Doctor ran fine. I'm going to try to beat him with Macho Boy, but I'm not denying that Demo Doctor's the one to beat.
Again, Pick 4 starts here. You can play it with Naira bets, and we'll see the big favorite, or at least the favorite, coming onto the track first here for Bob Glaceris.
Yeah, we've mentioned his merits. I guess the question is if you're concerned about the drop down off the voided claim.
Papa Tom B, MiG, gave us some reasons to like, and he did win on a sloppy track.
He's handled the wet track before, but his best race is once again at Finger Lakes. No success at all at Naira tracks.
Long time off for True Believe, April last year.
I'm a huge fan of Antonio Arriaga, as Richie is. His numbers with a limited sample off layoffs, though, aren't that good. He might need a race.
Tampa shipper coming in here, running violence.
Yeah, low percentage barn and a horse that would need to improve.
18-1 here, colt named Susie.
Yeah, a colt named Susie who's confused and a little bit slow.
And a big price right now. Tough to endorse. Macho Boy, at least on occasion, has shown speed and has one on the slop.
Well, I think he has excuses. I'm not going to expand on it now, but he's finally in a race where he can control on the front end. I like his chances.
Double Pour, going to make his 4-year-old debut.
I think he's one of the other major players in this race. He's simply been running against much, much better horses. It's not a negative drop. He's finally running where he belongs.
X-Top's 28-1.
Yeah, and his PPs explain why, at least in his recent races. Has some 4 or 5 back, okay, though.
And Irish Giant's taking support outside Linda Rice.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where it's coming from. Now, he was wide last time when the rail was good. He finished well behind the horse in the rail. A lot of early money for this horse, though. He's going to drift, though.
Pick 4 again. It starts here. How do we get started in the sequence? Let's go back to JK.
Yeah, guys, I thought this was a tough race. And in fact, the pick 6 that I played today, I spread in this race. I thought it was really tough. Obviously, the one Demo Doctor is a horse that you want to use. But the one that I kind of pressed up the most within my sequence, so that'll be my pick in here, was the 3 True Believe. This is a horse that comes in off of a break, obviously. This horse has run well off a layoff before. And so this horse has back numbers in a race that I thought was wide open, and I'm just hoping that off of that break comes back and runs well. Like I said, this is a race I do not have a strong opinion. I just thought that the 3 True Believe, because has run well fresh in the past, and also, like I mentioned, has some numbers that just make sense to me as far as this group is concerned. I don't trust the one Demo Doctor at that price. The horse can absolutely win, might win, probably will win. But at 8-5 from the rail on a sloppy racetrack, I'm going to try to look for a little bit more in the odds arena, and I'm going to go with a 3 True Believe.
Public, yeah, they are all over Demo Doctor right now.
Yeah, no surprise. He's drifting down. I think you saw a lot of that early money with the 9 was whacking the board around. And I'm going to try to beat him as well with the 6 Macho Boy. You know, you look through Macho Boy's PPs, and they obviously don't look very good recently. But last time, he chased 2 bullets around the racetrack. What real chance did he have? The time before that, going a mile. He's not a miler, and he dueled with the eventual winner of that race. The time before that, he faced bullets. He couldn't make the lead. The time before that, faced bullets, got involved in a heavy pace duel. He's got races when he can get clear that are fast enough. I'm a fan of Jackie Davis's. I'm not going to say she's, you know, one of the best riders in the room, but she's a good rider who, when she has the right horse, rides them the right way and gives them their best chance to win. I think with Macho Boy, you put him on the front and you hope things work out. I'm not confident. He's not a reliable type, but maybe if he gets clear in here, he gets brave. It's not like it hasn't happened before.
Yeah, and again, especially on this kind of a racetrack where that kickback can discourage some runners, it's a good place to be. Running violence, that long shot, is that the big, I guess, the threat to being on the front end?
I mean, I suppose any of the 2, 3, and 4 have enough speed that they could make it close, but Macho Boy is pretty darn quick. And assuming he breaks cleanly, and one thing about Jackie, she's aggressive. You'll see her be very aggressive. We saw with the horse yesterday that had an issue coming out of the gate, so it didn't break that well, but she got the horse to the outside, and she flew up to the lead, and the horse ended up winning. So she is a rider that appreciates the value of speed. So I don't see her getting in the way of this horse. Now, listen, he could always not break very well. Somebody else could go on a mission, or maybe it's just a bad pick on my part, but I think there's enough of an argument that 6-1 is a fair price.
Let's head back down to Mig.
Well, I would agree with your assessment, Andy, about the 6 Macho Boy being a square price and a major contender. And you know, Jackie Davis is riding well, and you can't ever discount confidence with a rider. When a rider wins, their confidence level, you know, really flourishes, and they, you know, continue to ride well. So, you know, the fact that she's winning on a horse that does have some speed, who made a nice impression in the paddock, I absolutely think you're getting a square price at 6-1. The one Demo Doctor looked great on the racetrack. Didn't really stand out in the paddock, looked better on the track, but I think it's too short a price. I'll stick with the 3 True Believe, who just from a physical perspective stood out to me. And the 9 horse Irish Giant got a big warm-up. It's a real strong seal on this track, so it's like really kind of packed down, and he was kind of galloping over the top of the ground. Very big, strong horse from the Linda Rice barn. Guys?
That horse actually won first time out, Irish Giant, the 9, in the mud at Aqueduct. See if he can reproduce it. He'll need to get a little bit better here. Does take a slight drop down. Favorite 7-5, even shorter price now on Demo Doctor from the rail with Trevor McCarthy. Pick 4 begins here. Let's go to John Imbrial.
there in the gate. And they're off. A good start for Demo Doctor from that inside post position, and he's got the early lead. True Believe runs in second. Macho Boy's on the outside in third, followed by X-Top. Papa Tom B advances down at the rail. A colt named Susie is next in sixth, followed by Double Pour in seventh. And then at the back, Running Violence and Irish Giant. It is Demo Doctor. The favorite here leads by 2 lengths. True Believe, Macho Boy, they are right together, second and third in the opening quarter over the sloppy track in 22 and 2/5 seconds. It is Demo Doctor, the leader, as Macho Boy now moves into second. True Believe is back running in third. It is 2.5 lengths to X-Top, who's running in fourth. The gray Papa Tom B is down at the rail and in fifth. As they come for the quarter pole, the half mile in 46 seconds. Demo Doctor continues to lead. It's Demo Doctor in front, getting away now to lead by 4, to lead by 5. Macho Boy, True Believe down towards the rail. They are giving chase to Demo Doctor, who has a commanding lead and just a 16th to the finish. Demo Doctor splashes home here to win decisively. It's Demo Doctor by 8 or 9 lengths. True Believe was second. Double Pour came on for third, and a colt named Susie was fourth.
Demo Doctor just better than this group today, wins as a 6-5 favorite.
And obviously, to be a leading rider, you've got to be riding the right horses. But one thing about Trevor McCarthy, when he's riding a horse that's the best horse on paper, he doesn't fool around. He just puts them in front. Once my horse Macho Boy couldn't make the lead, and I don't blame Jackie Davis, just wasn't fast enough today and probably has kind of lost his once good form. Once that horse doesn't make the lead, that horse has no chance to win. And once Demo Doctor is controlling, he's just too good for them, Greg. And when you're in front and you're the best horse, you're only going to lose if somebody buries you in a speed duel.
2 horses coming off layoffs run second and third. True Believe, the 3, who got second, coming off a long layoff. About a 3-month rest for Double Pour, who checked in third there, the 7. No question about your winner. 6-5 favorite. Starts off this late pick 4. Trevor McCarthy, Bob Placeris, Yellowstone Racing Stable. Chalk kicks off the pick 4. Well, the price is for you when we come back. We're going to take a timeout and head back to Oaklawn. When we return, there is Strong Tide trying to go 1.5 miles in the 4th when we come back. Last time he was on dirt, he set a track record at Oaklawn. We'll be back.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Spire speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions, proudly standing the ultra-fast, multiple stakes winning son of Uncle Mo, King for a Day, the only horse to defeat 2019 3-year-old champion Maximum Security.
Well, King for a Day was basically a clone of Uncle Mo. I mean, good speed, the ability to carry it over distance of ground, real professional horse and a really cool horse to train.
Sire maker extraordinaire Uncle Mo, represented in New York by King for a Day. Visit ihdvstallions.com to book your mare today.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Back on America's Day at the races, you could play it all by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Download the app, go to nairabets.com. Bonus 200, that code again to use at sign up. We have a rare 1.5 mile sighting coming up in this 4th at Oaklawn. You don't see that distance a whole lot outside of Belmont Stakes Day. We'll see who can last the distance here coming up. Original Intent kicks things off.
A lot of horses in here have run reasonably well at the distance, and he's won at 1.75 miles, albeit against lesser. Prepped at a shorter distance last time.
Allege he won in the slop 2 back at Oaklawn.
He's trying this distance for the first time. He's been okay at 1.25 miles. He looks like the controlling speed.
Dyna Drive. He tried to get 1.25 miles last start. He wound up 4th.
Off the claim for the Diodoro barn, which has been a massive funk at Oaklawn over the last 30-ish starters.
4-1 right now. 10-fold Steve Asmussen, 7-year-old now.
He's the one who has the big race names behind him. He figures to be stalking early. Does he really want to go this far as most effective?
Cupid's Claws.
He's my tepid choice in this race. He's run well going a distance. The last time he tried 1 mile and 5/8 in the dirt, he finished 3rd behind Lone Rock.
And he was 2nd out west in a 1.5 mile race at Del Mar as well. And then Strong Tide, mentioned 2 back on a good track, set a track record here.
Yeah, I mean, he has run well. He's won 1 mile and 9/16 at Oaklawn. I don't know, Greg. Are they betting him a little off his turf race, though, last time out? Because are you surprised he's this big a favorite?
It is very short. I do like him, but yeah, that price is very low.
I thought there were a lot of horses that could win in here. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised by too many horses in here. I thought the 1 was a little overmatched. We'll see what the 2 does, but he does appear to be the speed, and speed can be deadly in those races. But I'm going to bet the 5 Cupid's Claws. Nothing special.
Well, with more in the big favorite, as we're 2 minutes to post, let's head back to Gary and Lafitte.
Yeah, Greg, and you mentioned Strong Tide. Yeah, 17-1 when he set that track record here at Oaklawn, Gary. They also mentioned how rare these 1.5 mile races are. Less than 1% of all dirt races in North America at 1.5 miles or farther. The Belmont Stakes 2 turns, a little more complicated here, Gary. 3 turns, and where they start makes things a little tricky for the riders.
Yes, it does. Short run into that first turn where they'll be starting at about the 3.5, in between 3.5 and 4 furlong pole. So a short run, you want your horses getting running, going into that turn. Then you want them to switch off, get into a rhythm.
Strong Tide, Gary. Let's go back to that January 9th win. What did he show you with Giovanni Franco in the saddle?
Well, first of all, let's clarify that he did set a track record going 1 mile and 3/16, but that's a distance that they don't run a whole lot here at Oaklawn Park either. But it was a big performance. It was that big price that day. He ran like a 1-2 shot or 6-5 shot as he is right now. What I'm most worried about today is after that race, he traveled to Oklahoma. He ran in a B.W. Conley Stakes. There was 200,000. Back-to-back big races he ran, and Michael Lauer had not planned on running this race. There were only 4 horses in the race. I was actually named on 10-fold in this race for Steve Asmussen. I had to do some scrambling when Mike Lauer called me late, said that they were trying to make the race go. Would he go? So that's my biggest worry, is he was not anticipating going in the spot. There's a 1 mile and 3/16 race that is written in the book, so I halfway expected that maybe he was going to scratch, but he was very alert down in the paddock when I went down. When they put the saddle on him, he perked up, so looked good at down in the paddock and out on the racetrack right now.
You're Franco's agent. What do you want to see him do early on?
I just want to see him get into a good, comfortable rhythm like he did in his last race on the dirt here. He got over the ground very well that day. It was a similar track. It was a sealed, muddy track, or a sealed good track. It's sealed muddy. There's still a lot of moisture in the track today, so hopefully he's handling the surface good, and he just gets into a nice rhythm, and he can pull the trigger whenever he wants.
Jonathan, what'd you come up with here at Oaklawn? And by the way, congratulations, newly engaged.
Thank you, Lafitte. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm a pretty lucky person. Dyna Drive. This is a horse I thought was really interesting in here for a couple of reasons. One, we've seen what Diodoro can do when he claims these horses and tries to go long on the dirt. I also think it's an interesting claim for Flying P because they own the half brother, Tell Your Daddy, who's done well for Jay and Flying P. So it's a very interesting claim for Diodoro, Flying P. I think this horse, Temple City, will run all day long. And obviously this horse has run well in the care of Mike Maker as well, going longer. I think this is the interesting one. They all make sense, to be fair, except for the inside horse, the one. I don't think that horse can win. But the rest of them, I wouldn't be shocked if they won. Give me the 3 Dyna Drive for Diodoro, looking for another Lone Rock. Good luck with that, but keep trying.
He's been a master at getting horses and getting them to go these longer distance. Diodoro, we'll see if he can do it again, with Dyna Drive. Meanwhile, the only horse JK says he doesn't like in here, horse actually was pretty dominant at 1 3/4 miles.
He was, but that was a $10,000 starter allowance.
No
These are stakes quality. Some stats. Since January 2020, Diodoro is 1 for 29 going into Sunday or Monday, when I think he went 0 for 5 since January 23rd at Oaklawn. That's unusual for a trainer that's one of the more high percentage trainers in the game.
And especially in Hot Springs. He's dominant. Favorite moves in, going 1.5 miles. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're off. Strong Tide in the center breaks best and will be sent out for the front from Dyna Drive and Allege. Tenfold away in fourth, then Cupid's Claws, and the early trailer is Original Intent. From the outside to the rail to the front, Strong Tide is the leader around the far turn the first time, and he leads it by just over a length from Dyna Drive and Allege second and third. Tenfold, the Millionaire, is fourth, and he's about 4 from the front. He's 2.5 in front of the California Invader Cupid's Claws, and Original Intent is the trailer as they turn into the stretch for the first time, and Strong Tide is the leader, but now he gets pressure from Dyna Drive from the outside. Strong Tide leads by a half length. Dyna Drive is second by just over a length as Allege wants to go up and join those two. There is 1 lap to go, and Strong Tide is the leader. Tenfold continues to gallop along in fourth, and he's 3.5 in front of Cupid's Claws, and the trailer is Original Intent, and now Dyna Drive backs off, and Strong Tide has it to himself now as he goes into the hotel turn, and Strong Tide is the leader. He's 1.5 lengths now in front of Dyna Drive in second, with Allege still there at the rail third. Tenfold is closer now. He's fourth and about 2.5 lengths off the lead, and then it's 2 lengths further back to Cupid's Claws and Original Intent. 6 lengths first to last, just under 6 furlongs to race, and Strong Tide is the leader. It is Strong Tide, a full length in front of Dyna Drive in second. Allege is still there. He stays at the rail third. No excuses for Allege. Tenfold is still fourth. Now he's 4.5 off the lead as they quicken passing the half-mile pole. Original Intent is next. Cupid's Claws is now the trailer as they run into the far turn. No excuses today for Strong Tide. He's set the pace in his own fashion, and he leads by just over a length from Allege and Dyna Drive, now together second and third. Tenfold is joined by Cupid's Claws, and here comes Cupid's Claws. He is passing horses. He's just gone from last all the way up into second. Cupid's Claws in the black cap is 2 lengths behind Strong Tide. Original Intent is the trailer, and Strong Tide is getting away and galloping strongly at the top of the stretch. Strong Tide has opened up a 5-length lead. Cupid's Claws is running a good race, but it looks like it'll be second best to Allege and Tenfold, and Strong Tide is far in front. Strong Tide, Cupid's Claws is second. Strong Tide is straight and strong. Strong Tide won by 11 lengths over Cupid's Claws, Tenfold, and Allege.
That was fairly dominant. Strong Tide, a mile the best at this 1.5 mile distance.
I guess now I know why he was a short price in this race. And listen, I don't know that there were any circumstances that he wasn't going to win this race, but credit Giovanni Franco. When David Cohen, for whatever reason, decided not to be aggressive with the horse on paper looked like the speed Allege, Giovanni Franco said, okay, I'm happy to take the lead. I'm riding the best horse. And much like we saw with Demo Doctor at Aqueduct, you put the best horse on the front end and good things happen.
Not going to be a track record this time, even though he dusted this field by as many as he wanted to, but another big effort. And a rare, we see a few of them, but another English Channel that is very good on the dirt.
And maybe it's just more the distance than anything else. And it's nice to have a horse like this. He's not going to win any grade ones, but a horse that can be effective going long on turf and dirt. He can find some opportunities, much like they did at Sam Houston last time, and much like they did today, a race that Gary Stevens pointing out. They hustled him to run it here.
I know Diodoro's trying to find those next Lone Rocks. Maybe Michael Lauer is the next
The way
Lone Rock.
Diodoro's going and the way this horse ran, I would take my shot against Lone Rock with him.
In honor of Black History Month, we continue our look back at some of the legendary black jockeys of the late 19th century. Hall of Famer Shelby Pike Barnes. He was really a shooting star. He didn't last that long in the game, but he was dominant when he was around. Started at age 17 back in 1888, burst onto the New York scene. He won the inaugural running of the Futurity at Sheepshead Bay, which was at the time the country's richest race. He led all North American riders that year, 206 wins, becoming the first jockey to top 200 wins ever in a year. With more on all the contributions that are being remembered more and more of black jockeys in this sport, and trainers for that matter, let's go to Jonathan.
Yeah, it's awesome that they have this exhibit now, the Black Heritage and Racing exhibit at the Kentucky Derby Museum, because, like you mentioned, Wolfie, the African-American influence in the Kentucky Derby and in racing in general is, I think, a lot more than one might think. The influence of black riders in the early Kentucky Derbies, the history of all of the riders, and it's a great opportunity for that history to be kind of reminded to everyone. And I think it's also really important as we're looking for more diversity in the sport to welcome African American and black participants to feel the history of the sport and their involvement in it. And I think that sometimes things of that nature can kind of bring people back to the game and make it a little bit more interesting and welcoming for them. So while we're celebrating Black History Month, it's always important to, especially here in racing, to highlight the contributions of those athletes and horsemen as well.
And that exhibit, a permanent part of that Kentucky Derby Museum. We're going to take a timeout when we come back. Charlie Baker going to send out Witch Hunter coming up in the 7th, and Kendrick Carmouche, we're going to see him on the rail. Cinderella's Cause, both contenders coming up in race 7 when we return.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Solomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it. The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5, Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
Back on America's Day at the Races program, brought to you in part by Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting, did it all while racing. Medication free, now standing in legendary stall 1 at Claiborne Farm. Back at Oaklawn, Strong Tide. We got a straight and strong from Vic. This horse was dominant going the 1.5 miles.
He was like the tide rolling in the stretch as he rolled away from Cupid's Claws, maybe a little too far back, but it didn't really matter. Strong Tide was a week the best, made 380 look like a massive overlay.
Could we see this horse point to some of these marathon races like Lone Rock did last year?
I think there's no reason not to, right? I mean, you know, it depends when they're placed, and they can always run in some 1.5 mile lesser races, but we run some here. I think Churchill Downs may run some. Why not? I mean, these horses can be specialists, and certainly the way he ran today, he owes him a chance, and there's some good purse races going along.
7th at Aqueduct back here at South Ozone Park. 6.5 furlongs, New York bred, first allowance condition, Fancy Feline. Trevor McCarthy again, teaming up here with Jimmy Bond in a horse who's 2 for 2 at Aqueduct.
Yeah, I think the 4, Witch Hunter, will be favored by post time. If I could get a vote for the worst short price in America in not just 2022, but maybe the entire decade, I think Fancy Feline would definitely have a chance to be that horse. I mean, this was like the goldest of gold rails. And not only did Trevor, as he always seems to, stay right in the rail, the rest of the field, for whatever reason, was scattered around in other paths, including the second-place finisher who ran the best race, but was wide the whole way. This was a horse that was dressed up by the rail. The prior effort, while a 12-length win got a 50 buyer, was not a very good field. And in my opinion, this horse is coming in here as dressed up as a horse can be. I'll be surprised if she's part of the superfecta, to be honest with you. I think the question with Witch Hunter, the 4, who probably ends up favored, how much do you trust her after her last race? But obviously, she has numerous efforts that make her way the horse to beat.
Yeah, did not finish up in that race. Pulled up the end off, but has come back to work since that time on a few occasions and is going to be one of the main players, if not the favorite, when we come back. We'll have the post parade for you when we return. 7th next, the feature from New York. Stay with us.
The breeding industry is governed by one principle. Performance determines success.
And Constitution has won!
Now, he's earning his stripes by siring stars.
Independence Hall wins the Hagyard Bayette.
Law Professor just in front, and Law Professor. American Revolution, fireworks in the stretch here in the Cigar Mile.
Constitution, a natural-born leader.
How does horse racing support New York's economy? It's responsible for 19,000 jobs and more than $3 billion in annual statewide economic impact. These good-paying jobs support working families across the state and sustain thousands of small businesses both on and off the track. Horse racing in New York means jobs and opportunities now and in the future. We are New York Horse Racing.
850, 75, 850, 75, 175, 175, 150, 175. Ralph, 850,000. Thank you.
Volatile in front by 2. Whitmore is down at the rail. Forense Fire and Mind Control. It's Volatile in front as they pass the 16th pole. Volatile victorious in the Vanderbilt. 1 by 2 lengths.
850,000. Thank you.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the races, you do not want to miss the 3rd and final leg of the Triple Crown this year. A true crowd on the grounds for the first time in a long time. June 9th through 11th, that Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. Tickets now on sale. Go to BelmontStakes.com for more information. What, 2019, last time we had a full crowd there?
Amazing, isn't it? We went from 0 to 11,000, and make no mistake, this event is going to sell out, and sell out fairly quickly at 50,000 people. Get your tickets now. It's such an amazingly great day of racing, and to celebrate the ability to come back to Belmont for the Belmont Stakes for the first time, don't get shut out of this event. Get your tickets, whatever, even if it's general admission. Just make sure you can get in the building.
Again, BelmontStakes.com, where you go to get those tickets. 7th in New York. Look at the current odds, 9-5 favorite.
The more I dislike her, the more she drops.
Fancy Feline, Andy is against. Let's head downstairs to Mig.
Yeah, Greg, let's start with the one horse, Cinderella's Cause. First time off the claim by Chris Englehart, but it's just a big loppy-eared filly. I love those fillies that have those ears that kind of flop over. Carries good weight, like most of Chris Englehart's horses do. And, you know, Chris is a trainer that has had success claiming some horses off of Chad Summers in the past, and I think this filly is a contender. I really like the way she's exuding, you know, her energy level here in the paddock, the one, Cinderella's Cause. Two horses that really stood out from a physical perspective. We'll start with the 4, Witch Hunter. This is a filly that was eased in her last start, has had 3 workouts since that time she was eased. Protocols dictate that she has to work to the satisfaction of the state veterinarian. Obviously, she cleared protocol. She could not look any fitter. This is a little bit shorter than she's been racing, but I tell you, from a physical perspective, the 4 Witch Hunter is really making a nice impression. She is a filly that's accumulated more seconds than wins, but she's also a New York bred who spent much of her career racing against open company. And then the 6 horse Fancy Feline, who I agree with Andy. I think this filly got the run of the race last time, had everything going for her on an inside track. Got a phenomenal ride from Trevor McCarthy that day. But that being said, from a physical perspective, Fancy Feline, it looks outstanding. I mean, she's just carrying great weight coming off of 2 victories. Her coat's fantastic. Got a great energy level. And Jimmy Bond and his sons, they do a great job. And when they get a horse that gets in a form cycle and starts to improve, they tend to hold that form cycle for a bit. So from a physical perspective, although I do think she got an absolutely incredible ride last time that helped her win, and maybe it makes her a little dressed up, from a physical perspective, she looks outstanding.
Meg, thanks. We'll see if she can make it 3 in a row and keep her record perfect here in New York. I mean, that was just we saw the ride. You've talked about it, but it was just a tremendous identification of how the track was playing and commitment to it from Trevor McCarthy.
There's the reason, I don't have the exact numbers, that Trevor is either in the lead or vying with Dylan Davis and Kendrick Carmouche in the lead, because we had so many days where we had extreme biases and there was no rider that was quicker to pick it up and took more advantage of it than Trevor, because he didn't win with, he won with horses from off the pace. And when you get that inside bias, a lot of times it's speed horses that get to the rail. As you saw with Fancy Feline, he got to the rail with a horse coming from dead last, and he did that on quite a few occasions. I can't say enough about how well he's rode here, and those biases really gave him an advantage.
Meg, your thoughts, and how much do all these riders pay attention to how the track is changing on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I think riders have gotten a lot more in tune with it as time has gone by. But, you know, Trevor has certainly, like Andy said, been ahead of the curve with so much of that. But, you know, I think a lot of the storyline as we're coming into, you know, towards the end of this meeting, guys, is, you know, we got 14 racing days after today left, is the jockey race. You know, Trevor is back 1 in front of Dylan Davis, who's been riding really well. Kendrick Carmouche is 1 or 2 behind them lurking. I think there's going to be the storyline last few weeks, this jockey race, which is going to go down to the wire with a bunch of guys just riding in really tremendous form.
I think one of the things amazing about it is, despite the influence of the Migliori family, I mean, you've got Richie's son, Joe, who's Trevor's agent. You've got his brother, Michael, who's Dylan's agent. And even with that Migliori handicap, these guys are doing incredibly well. Richie, I don't know how they're doing it.
They just need to watch tapes of when I rode, Andy. Then they'll be all right.
They must be amazing riders.
I hope they look back to 1997. Mig won this meet. It was briefer back then, but he won with a 29% win percentage.
Mig not only one of the better riders that rode full-time in New York, one of the most popular riders that rode full-time in New York.
Here's Cinderella's Cause. Kendrick Carmouche, this horse first off the claim.
Yeah, this is a barn. He'd been claimed from the Chad Summers barn, and people have had a lot of success claiming from him in the past.
This one's been very popular in the claim box, the 2.
I think he's very interesting. I always like Antonio Arriaga off the claim as well.
Big Tony's Girl 701 comes in off a win for Jimmy Ryerson.
She found the right field last time. This is a much, much tougher group.
There she is. Jose Lezcano was on board for that win. He's back aboard today. 2 for 15.
Did beat a horse that won here the other day, but at a very short price in a weak field.
Here's the Charlie Baker runner, 5-year-old mare Witch Hunter.
I could never trust a horse like this after the last performance, but obviously she has multiple recent races that are good enough to win.
Yeah, just completely backed out of that race and did not finish, was vanned off. The 5 Captivating Cara.
It just feels like her very best race gives her a marginal chance to get a piece.
Still the favorite at 9-5, Fancy Feline.
Yeah, this is the kind of horse that I live to bet against. Sometimes they beat me, but more often than not, these bias-aided horses will underperform in their subsequent starts.
Valentium, Carl Grusmark, Jackie Davis.
Well, the problem with this horse is 6 seconds and only 1 win, but a horse that can be forward and maybe could get at least a piece.
8-1 outside, 2 minutes to post here in the 7th. Let's go back to Jonathan.
Yeah, look, I agree with Andy, and we've been doing that a lot lately. So let's see if that carries over to the summer. But the 6, I'm completely against the 6 Fancy Feline, and I agree with Andy. I won't go as far as Superfecta because I think this horse could run the Superfecta, but I'd be shocked if this horse was in the Exacta as the favorite. So I think that's saying something. I like the 2 Big Al's Gal. Obviously, the 4 Witch Hunter can win, but I'm going to focus more on the 2 Big Al's Gal. Just a horse that has got some nice races in the form. And you look back when you're trying to beat a horse like the 6 who's taking this kind of money, you just want to look for some live angles. And I just felt like the 2 had a shot in here. Look, the last race wasn't very good. The pace wasn't particularly fast. This horse wasn't too close, but you're just hoping off of the trainer change. Maybe there's some kind of wake up there that can lead back to some of the previous races. You look at the race 2 back, was stuck down on the inside, probably not exactly where you want it to be that day. So I'm just hoping that 2 Big Al's Gal can somehow find some of that back form and run better than last time. And at 5-1, I've got no problem looking for that. But like I said, I also think the 4 Witch Hunter is another horse that's extremely live. And just to be clear, when I mentioned that I don't like the 6, I didn't even use the 6 as the favorite in the pick 6.
All right, Jonathan, thanks. You're taking a look at Kendrick Carmouche, Cinderella's cause. And actually, leg back up here.
They probably heard I liked her and was briefly considering maybe not running. Cinderella's cause was claimed by Chris Engelhart of Chad Summers last time. Horses claimed over the last 5 years off of Chad Summers in dirt races are 9 for 22 in their next starts with a 267 ROI. So they were relatively short prices, $7, $8 horses. 19 of those horses hit the board. It's just a move that's really worked, and she's got some back races that give her a chance. So I prefer her. I don't disagree with Jonathan about Big Al's Gal. Dead Rail, 2 races back, plenty of races there. She did underperform last time, but I'm hoping getting into a new barn that she can improve. I think they're the right 2 in here. I'm scared of Witch Hunter, but, Greg, looking at Witch Hunter, she was claimed for $8,000 from Peter Walder. She was in $6,000 claiming races, right? And she really wasn't much. And she dramatically improved for the trainer that got her. Then Charlie gets her. She loses at 1-5. To be fair to a decent horse in OK Honey, but she loses at 1-5 at Finger Lakes and then comes up here and is eased. You wonder if, and I have as much respect as I know you do for Charlie Baker, but you just wonder if in a new barn this horse could regress to the form she had before she got claimed in the first place, going back to May of 2021.
Mig is going to stick with her. She's 5-2. Mig.
I like what I saw in the post parade, and again, she had to pass certain protocols in place to make sure that she's sound and racing fit. She couldn't look any better, and I'm going to stick with her. The 1-horse Cinderella's cause. Can't tell you how difficult it is to do what Kendrick Carmouche did, vaulting back on her without the benefit of someone giving him a leg up. Got to be a real athlete to be able to do that, and she made a nice impression on the track. I do think she's a major contender as well.
She's 3-1. It's still this one right here, Fancy Feline throughout. She's been the favorite, still the 2-1 choice. We'll see what she can produce here with Trevor McCarthy for the Bond Barn. We're set for the 7th. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial, the call.
There in the gate. And they're off. Violent I Am and Captivating Cara. Captivating Cara with a narrow lead. Violent I Am is on the outside, racing in second. Cinderella's Cause is down at the rail in third. Big Tony's Girl next in fourth. Big Al's Gal now advances at the rail from fifth. Then it's Witch Hunter, and Fancy Feline is seventh, about 5 lengths from the front as they race up the backstretch, and it is Big Long Shot, Captivating Cara in front by a neck. Cinderella's Cause down at the rail in second. The quarter went in 22 and 4/5 seconds. Violent I Am runs in third with Big Al's Gal down at the rail. Big Tony's Girl is in between horses. Fancy Feline begins to pick it up on the extreme outside, and then it is Witch Hunter. They race around the far turn with Captivating Cara in front by a length. Violent I Am in second. And Cinderella's Cause is down at the rail, the half mile in 47 seconds. Captivating Cara, big long shot, has the lead at the top of the stretch. Cinderella's Cause looks to come through down towards the rail. Then it is Violent Diane, followed by Big Al's Gal, Fancy Feline out in the middle of the track. Witch Hunter is now coming on as they come down for the 16th pole. It is Captivating Cara. Here is Witch Hunter. Witch Hunter on the outside to take over the lead. And it will be Witch Hunter. Dylan Davis with a triple today. Witch Hunter the winner, Captivating Cara, and Cinderella's Cause.
Witch Hunter back to her better performances. Big day, you heard from Dylan Davis, and maybe saving at least the potential for another carryover in the pick six.
Yeah, I agree. As a number 5, a big long shot who was leading the stretch and did actually hold second there with her speed. Well, when Big Al's Gal got left, it helped her chances. But this horse, she ran today. You know, we talked about it. If she showed up, she was probably going to win this race, and she showed up. My horse, she underperformed a little bit. I think a little out of her game. Cinderella's Cause chasing from the inside, but she was no better than second best if she was second best.
Witch Hunter, 5-year-old debut, and back in the winner's circle for the 6th time in her career, getting by this field pretty convincingly. Big day 3 this afternoon for Dylan Davis.
Yeah, and Jonathan nailed it. The 6, because the 2 got left, was able to get into the superfecta. So he was right there. He buried me. If the 2 hadn't gotten left, I think she would have gotten the superfecta. But Jonathan, you were right. She managed to eke into that super.
4, 5, 1, 6. We head back to Hot Springs. Race 5 starts the late pick 5. That's coming up next. Mile to 16th, $10,000 maiden claiming race. And a look at the current odds in here. Pure Silk, Madam Pie, the 8, undecoded on the outside, the 11, all taking money.
Yeah, it feels like sort of the 8, I guess. Madam Pie going out for Steve Asmussen is the logical horse off that mile to 16th race in the mud. Gets the mud today. Undecoded, Poolside Manners, they've had less chances. I was going to take a shot with the 9 Poolside Manners at a price.
John Hirano, the apprentice for Norm McKnight there. Lowest level that filly has been at down our street sense. There's the favorite, though. So Madam Pie, this is start number 12. She had an opportunity at this level, as you mentioned, but if she can repeat what she did, 6-year-old mare. Usually don't want to bet older horses trying to break their maiden.
Somewhere you feel like there's a handicapping angle. Never bet a 6-year-old maiden that's more than 0 for 10 as the favorite in the race. I mean, it's a tough one to take at a short price.
Why is Steve Asmussen claiming? It's 2 races now. We've seen claims for 10,000 with
Greg, I dare you to ask him that when we get to Saratoga. I dare you.
I'm happy to. I'm sure
please,
we'll get an interesting reaction.
Get Ernie Munich to videotape
this
it.
This is a trainer who wins the biggest races on the planet, but wow.
You don't win, 30,000 races lifetime unless you've got a few $10,000 maidens in your holster.
We'll get to the 9-5 favorite in a moment. I was going to ask you, though, that last race, if she can repeat that, you think that wins here?
Very possibly. I think very possibly it does. The problem is, and maybe that was the wet track, she's got a plethora of other races that aren't particularly good. And at 9-5, at 11, 0 for 11, 6-year-old, I'm not saying I love anybody else, and I can see why she's the worst to beat, but it's not my kind of horse.
Going to make that turn. Our post parade here coming up in a moment. Again, this starts this late pick 5. Intriguing sequence, too. I mean, there's some good races coming up later. That 6 furlong sprint, the 7th, is completely wide open. Prodigious Bay is going to be heavily bet in that 8th race.
I only looked through 6, Greg. Sorry.
Because you're leaving me.
That's correct.
Here's Pure Silk to start off the post break.
I mean, this horse is just a little worse than the 8, but a similar type horse, right? 0 for 8, finished a few lengths behind Madam Pie last time. I guess off her last, she has a chance.
At least some excuses for Moonlight Blaze and only lightly raced.
Is coming off a claim, but a claim for a trainer that was 1 for 34 last year. But I agree, only 0 for 2.
Miss Alpha Bell, 12-1, Martin Garcia rides.
I wonder how much you can trust this horse going the distance, but looks like the speed.
Game of inches, 28-1.
Not for this horse.
It's not been. It's been a game of miles behind. Moonshine Lily, 34-1.
It's another horse, out of town. She's just getting beaten easily in other races with a trainer change to a low percentage barn.
My daddy's trainer dropped to this level last start. It did not help.
Well, I will still, in my heart, always root for my friend Nick Zito.
Yep. Donner had dialed in there. The 8, the favorite at 2-1, Madam Pie.
Yeah, we've already gone through this horse, but neither one of us is betting this horse at 2-1.
Poolside Manors, Norm McKnight, John Geraldo.
I thought this horse a little bit interesting, getting the dirt here, dropping down, getting a rider change since the one dirt race. Ran is much better in the only dirt race.
DD's Trick, Robertino Diodoro.
The Cold Diodoro barn on a trainer switch. He's never had great numbers on trainer switches.
And Undecoded, another one who's lightly raced, lowest level she's been at.
That's the thing. 3 starts, dropping down. These are the kind of horses in general I would use. Obviously, the barn has been struggling at the meet, but I could throw this horse in.
Minute to post. Coming up, we'll return here in just a moment. Let's wrap up that 7th back in New York that we just saw. Witch Hunter returning to the winner's circle. 6th win of her career. 3-win day for Dylan Davis, trained by the man standing by with Richard Migliori.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Really great training job here. Charlie Witch Hunter eased last time. I was asking you off camera, what exactly happened last time?
She just, Ozzy just didn't think she felt good after he got her out there. She didn't grab a hold of the bit. She didn't pick it up. She wasn't sore because he told me she was okay, but she doesn't felt, she wanted to do it that day. So he protected her, which was good. He brought her back. He pulled her up and we fended her off, but she wasn't sore. She was okay. Yeah.
Now, obviously, she's had some work since, so she had to work for the state veterinarian.
She had to work for the vet. She did good there. We got past that. And she had a little issue tying up, and so we gave her a little more time to get that under control and got her back here to races. I thought the race was a little shorter than she wanted to go, but she was working great coming into the race, so I thought she could at least this field she could overcome it by doing that.
Well, Charlie, you're having a terrific winter this year. 11th win at the meet. You're winning it better than 25%, but a big win last weekend with Glass Ceiling in the Barbara Fritchie.
Yeah, she's a hard-knocking filly. I'm glad to have her in the barn. She gets you to get up in the morning, want to get to work. Well, she did good. So, yeah, she's been a tremendous claim for me, definitely.
Congratulations. Great job. Guys, that smile said it all. Glass Ceiling, I mentioned her. He lit up like a Christmas tree.
It's impossible not to root for Charlie Baker, and he's done such a tremendous job of taking claiming horses and turning them into stakes winners.
I say this with all sincerity. If somebody, if I claimed horses, he would be a trainer that I would ask to have my horses. Glass Ceiling was a horse he claimed. It's won a lot of money and got in great form, much like Joking, who a Grade 1 winner that he claimed. He's a fabulous horseman.
$6.50 for the win. Not only does she win after being vanned off last time, this was her 5-year-old debut that she gets her picture taken again as we head back to Hot Springs. And this $10,000 maiden claiming race where JK form hard to come across.
Yeah, I agree. Andy mentioned some of the points already about this horse. I like the 9 Poolside Manors. I don't really know what Poolside Manors are. I mean, the only thing I can think of is like if you've been in the water and someone's dry, they have to go inside to get the drink. I don't really know what that means, but this is a horse that has run well enough against better. He ran for 25 and ran fine. Didn't run particularly well last time, but from a speed figure standpoint, why speed figures are so important to me, and I know to most horse players, is that this horse ran fast enough on speed figures. If he runs that race after losing all the ground she runs that race that she ran last time, losing all that ground, she can beat this bunch. It's just not really a very intimidating bunch. And Norm McKnight, although he's typically been a high percentage trainer, he's 20% overall in his career. He's only 7% for the meet and only 3% for the year, which is obviously a concern. This is a horse that I think does make a little bit of sense as at a price, but he's going to have to overcome an extremely cold trainer.
We'll see if Poolside Manors here can wake up the barn a little bit. 3-year-old filly, there she is in the background, those red and white stripes. Daughter of Street Sense with an impressive apprentice, John Geraldo.
I'm trying to look up Poolside Manors on Wikipedia, on Google here, and I'm getting some. I was thinking it was a play on Bedside Manners. Bedside Manor? Maybe that's what I was thinking, but
maybe if you go to the pool club, you just got to act the part.
It's one of the things about living in New York City, Greg. You don't get to the pool very often, right?
Nope. Look, 9-1 is actually pretty generous, but it's a complete X factor because you just hope that she shows something with this drop down.
I think these are the kind of horses at prices that you want to bet on that you're going to lose. a heavy percentage of the time. But I think you get paid in the long run because you look at this race, and we've talked about Madam Pi. None of us are going to be shocked when she wins, but we're going to be even less shocked when she loses at 2-1. She easily beat the one last time, who's never really run that fast. And you look at the field, and there's just nobody in here that's particularly compelling. So you gravitate to horses with few chances, like the 2, like the 9, like the 11. And for me and Jonathan, the 9 was the one that caught our fancy.
Yeah, and there's the 2, another one. Look, Trouble Trip in that first start going longer. It was at this level. It was a really slow race, too. But we'll see. Maybe with a cleaner going, can at least be better than this bunch. No superstars in here. It's still the Asmussen runner, the 8, Madam Pi. 6-year-old mare, the 8, who's trying to win in her 12th career start. Let's go to Vic Stauffer, start of the late pick 5.
Last to load, Undecoded. They're at the post. They're off. Miss Alphabella and Pure Silk break well. Poolside Manners and Moonshine Lily are close up. In the center, it's Undecoded. Then comes Dee Dee's Trick, followed by My Daddy's Trainer and Madam Pi, Game of Inches, and the early trailer is Moonlight Blaze, and it's 3 across the track early to the backside. Undecoded 3 wide. Poolside Manners between horses and Miss Alphabella at the rail. 2 lengths to Dee Dee's Trick, who races in 4th and about 2.5 from the front. Pure Silk is 5th at the rail with 3.5 to make up, and Madam Pi's a length behind her. Then it's 2.5 back to Moonshine Lily, followed by Game of Inches at the rail and My Daddy's Trainer. They're about 6 off the lead, and Moonlight Blaze is the trailer as they head up the backstretch with Undecoded in front. It looks like the saddle has slipped forward on Poolside Manners. Definitely the saddle has slipped forward on Poolside Manners, and she's in a bad spot leaving the backstretch. Dee Dee's Trick and Miss Alphabella are next. Then it's 2.5 back to Pure Silk and Madam Pi. Those two both 3.5 off the lead. 3 back to Game of Inches, then Moonlight Blaze and Moonshine Lily, and the trailer is My Daddy's Trainer, and the leader is still Undecoded. Undecoded has the lead. She's a length in front of Dee Dee's Trick in second. Then comes Miss Alphabella. Madam Pi and Pure Silk are still together. Pure Silk's inside of Madam Pi, and they're both about 3 from the front. Top of the stretch, Undecoded still in front. Undecoded with a 1.5 length lead on Dee Dee's Trick in second. Now Pure Silk is set down for the drive, and here's Pure Silk coming after Undecoded. Miss Alphabella is next. It is still Undecoded in front. Pure Silk is trying to get by. She's got a length to make up. Gonna make it close. Undecoded. Pure Silk to the outside. Pure Silk, Undecoded. Pure Silk in time. Pure Silk beat Undecoded. Miss Alphabella and Dee Dee's Trick.
Pure Silk comes and gets the 11 Undecoded. Very dangerous situation there with the apprentice John Geraldo on the 9 Poolside Manners.
Just glad to see that horse was able to finish the race with Geraldo aboard, and I agree, obviously disappointing if you bet on the horse, but most importantly, he was able to get her out of a very, very tough spot as the saddle must have slipped, and you could see it fairly early. What a tough beat for Jason Barkley, who's having a tough beat at 1 for 39 with the 11, but Pure Silk, and we keep saying it with Francisco Arrieta. He's getting good trips over and over and over again and needed every bit of a great trip to get it done, and gets it done today. Tough beat for the 11. Nice job by Arrieta. And Madam Pi didn't break that well, but she never even made an appearance, Greg.
No, just a complete non-factor is the favorite in this race. We talked about 6-year-old maidens who are 0 for 11. Usually not a great bet. Pure Silk the win, 1:11.3. And John Geraldo doing the right thing, just easing Poolside Manners out of the race when that saddle slipped. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to look ahead to tomorrow's $20 million race. Mandaloon, the newly crowned Kentucky Derby winner from last year. And Art Collector, the Woodward winner, making the trip. We'll be back.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, a triple grade 1 winner, defeating Breeders' Cup champions Dancing in Silks and Amazombie, a leading California sire with over $9.7 million in progeny earnings, with 94 winners in 2021 and graded stakes superstars like Spice Perfection.
Spice Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
And Tiger Dad. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be cow bred.
Mischief is now the challenger. They're off the turn. They're into the stretch. Charlatan digging down deep on the lead. Mischief desperately trying to get by. Nixco's been defeated. Great Scott and Tacitus coming down to the final 100 meters. Charlatan has to fend off the oncoming Mischief. Mischief is roused to the lead. Charlatan tries to fight back. Is doing so. Mischief, Charlatan. Mischief conquers the cup. An upset winner, defeating Charlatan.
Mishrif, he's going to look to go back-to-back in the Saudi Cup. Unfortunately for him, he drew all the way on the outside. Oh, wait, he did last year, too.
Yeah, obviously it'll be interesting to see what he does as he goes back-to-back in these big purse races. He got such a great setup last year with Nixco and Charlatan going at it early. And first of all, obviously those are two very good horses, but it's a pretty strong field this year. And I don't think he projects to get the same kind of positive setup.
Mandaloon, Midnight Bourbon, 1-2 finishers in that Grade 3 Louisiana going to line up against him. Art Collector, who was in incredible form before he disappointed in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Let's take a look at the previous two I had mentioned when they faced off at the fairgrounds.
Well, Mandaloon is now the Kentucky Derby winner. We can say it officially. And is Midnight Bourbon a horse that just loses races, runs well and loses, or is he just running second horse that run well? Obviously, I respect Mandaloon, Greg, his first start since the past summer. He's never really run that fast a race. We'll see how he can get it done. I think you have to say both of these horses can win.
Yeah, it's tough for him. Over almost 1.2 million in earnings for Midnight Bourbon. So many runner-up finishes in big races. Mandaloon, though, a horse who's really starting to come into his own. Just missed a Hot Rod Charlie in that Haskell. We didn't see him for a while. The second half of the year, he was gone. And then he comes to come back and win off that kind of layoff. Are you impressed?
Yeah, especially against a horse like Midnight Bourbon. Yeah, he runs second, but he's still a good horse. And the funny thing about Mandaloon is not only is he most famous for getting placed first in the Derby at this point, but both of his big wins, his biggest wins, he got placed first, right? The Haskell as well. It's very unusual, right? Even not, obviously the Derby's particularly unusual, but for a horse to have two major wins getting placed first in Grade 1s.
Well, it's going to kick off the cross-country Pick 5 $20 million Saudi Cup. We're going to have live coverage tomorrow as well, and that's a big one, part of our coverage that begins at noon Eastern time on FS2, presented by Run Happy. Stymie here in New York, and the Rebel on the road to the Triple Crown, all part of that sequence. How are you going to play it? Jonathan.
Well, it's a terribly named wager across country, Pick 5, because Saudi Arabia is much farther than this country. just technicality. There's a situation where when you go overseas and they have to ship, they're in a completely different environment. I think on paper we have an idea of who we might like more. I think I like Mandaloun more as an individual, but I've heard Midnight Bourbon's training extremely well. I'm going to use both of them, the 7 and the 8, in the Saudi Cup. When we get back over here stateside, I'm going to use the 1, 2, and 10 in the second leg. The 1, a Chad Brown entry using risk-taking and sound money. I thought Zoomer was interesting, and also the 10 Secret Rules. And then I'm going to use, I almost singled Green Light Go, but the 5, Milton the Monster, ran a very fast race last time. That race seems like it actually is fast. A lot of horses have come back and run a little bit faster out of that race, which kind of confirms the figure that the 5, Milton the Monster, earned. I'm going to spread in the 4th leg, 1, 5, 7, 9, and 10. And then to wrap it up in the Rebel, I'm kind of against New Grange, but he's got the fastest number. I can't toss. The 5, Texas Red Hot, is a horse that I thought ran well as a 2-year-old, does need to get a little bit faster. The 7, Ben Diesel, a phenomenal name for a racehorse. And the 9, Barber Road, to wrap it up.
Want to mention leg number 2, the 7th race tomorrow at Aqueduct. Both Secret Rules and the very speedy Amundsen are entered on Sunday, which means they must scratch tomorrow. So Secret Rules and Amundsen both won't play in there. One of them, Secret Rules, I agree with Jonathan, was a major contender, and Amundsen at the very least would have had an effect on the race because of his enormous speed. They won't be playing. They'll be running on Sunday.
Well, Saudi Cup, it kicks off that cross-country Pick 5. Our coverage begins early, 8 a.m. Eastern on FS2 tomorrow. It's presented by Run Happy. And the big one, part of our coverage that begins at noon Eastern time. It's going to be a fun Saturday of racing as we head back to New York. And the 8th up next, 1-turn mile. Starter optional claiming field. 7-2, mild favorite on Red Revolution, who ran big in a maiden claiming win in the mud back on February 5th. Let's head downstairs. Back to Richard Migliore.
Well, I just think this is a really interesting competitive race, Greg. And Rudy Rodriguez has 2 horses in here, the 1, Miracle Nikki, and then the 8-horse Good Skate. And I far prefer from a physical perspective, the 1, Miracle Nikki. This is a horse that's really muscled out behind, very strong hind end, carrying great weight, great coat on him. And, you know, he's kind of a blockier, thicker kind of horse that usually those kind of horses kind of have to race into condition. You can only train them so much. Now, this horse is, you know, improved with each start, and his last start getting a victory, and I think he's got a big forward move in him. I love what I'm seeing from him from a physical perspective. I think he's a standout, and out of, you know, certainly from the same barn, the more preferred Good Skate, I prefer the 1, Miracle Nikki. Another horse caught my eye, the 6, Don't Be Late, from the Dave Donk barn. Another trainer. Horses get better with racing. This horse could not be better turned out. Love his energy level, love what I'm seeing from him. As I do the 7-horse Prin Track horse that actually defeated Good Skate 2 starts back, making the 2nd start for Linda Rice barn. Could not look any better. Coat's great. This time of year, it's hard to keep horses with that good coat, that good conditioning, because you know, just winter time takes their toll. But I couldn't say anything but good things about the 7 Prin Track.
Mig thinks he's 5-1. There he is. Manny Franco will be back aboard. He's been the only pilot this horse has known in 3 career starts. Let's go back to Print Track and Salippo when they met back on January 27th.
The problem with Print Rack, and I agree, he can win, he can wire the field. Linda Rice, very good stretching out horses off the claim, super numbers. The problem is he had the run of the race. The inside was good on this day. And if you compare the race that he ran to the race that Salippo ran, who finished 3rd, there's no way that you could bet Print Rack off of that, because while Print Rack was having the run of the race and lost to a horse that came up the rail, Salippo blew the brake, was out in the 4 path the entire way around the track, made this huge middle move, and still ended up finishing 3rd, beaten only a length and a quarter by Print Rack, and in my opinion, running a million times better. The problem with Salippo is he slipped over to Parks when I wasn't looking and paid $9.40, so I'm bitter about that. And maybe you're supposed to get the money at Parks last time, but geez, if you compare these 2 performances and you throw in the track was playing against Salippo and for Print Rack, I couldn't bet Print Rack against him, but I won't be surprised when that's the wrong way to look at it.
Yeah, Salippo, you know, his next start out there when he went off at almost 4-1. Horrible beginning again. And yeah, I know he got a really hot pace to chase, But it was an impressive win to just roll by that field.
On the other hand, you bring up the fact that he's having trouble getting out of the gate now 2 times in a row. And I don't care how good you are, it's never good to get left. You don't want to spot Fields' lengths. I think Print Rack is very dangerous to wire him, but I just feel like you're supposed to bet the 9. Now, I thought the 9 would be a much bigger price than the 7. If it turns out to be the other way around, then I don't think you're getting that big advantage you were hoping for with the 9.
He's also the 9 who we're looking at. He's the only multiple winner in this field, having won 3 times.
I think a lot of people do look at those things when you have them, and I think it does matter. I like his chances here. I think Trent Rack can win. Greg, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be surprised if the 3, 7, or 9 don't win this race. Hot Stepper, a little interesting to me. Good Skate, not totally impossible. But I know they're the 3 choices. I thought they were the right 3 in here.
Red Revolution, the 3, who's still your tepid favorite right now. There he is. Start number 2, wins in the mudded Aqueduct. And, yeah, off this race, I thought he'd be a much shorter price.
I agree, and I think Thoroughgraphs gave him a very big number for his effort last time out. And I agree. I didn't pick him. I put him second because I thought he might be 8-5 in here. He's such a hard horse for me to judge, at least. He ran a race that makes sense. The buyer speed figure could be higher, justifiably. He won by 12 lengths eased up. He beat a terrible field. And this is a much better field. But to deny that he ran that race seems foolish to me, right?
Kendrick Carmouche, I'm with you. He was favored in that spot. Obviously, the going gets tougher. But the figure he earned, everyone else is going to have to come up to his level.
And he's the kind of horse, if he pays around $8 or somewhere, when he wins by 4 lengths, you and I are going to look at each other and say, we're just making the game tougher than it is by not betting on him. And when he loses, we'll say, well, he beat nobody last time. We should have known. So it's all good.
We have all our bases covered.
Right.
Kendrick Carmouche getting ready to hop aboard. There he is.
Richie likes Miracle Nicky. It's going to take a miracle, in my opinion, for him to win. He just ran a slow race while riding a gold rail last time. This is, once again, the kind of horse that I wouldn't bet. But I know Richie likes him. He's got a brother named Nicky. He's got a lot of things going on, that Migliori guy.
Rider that Mig knows something about, too.
Right.
Who's his agent again?
I think it's that Joe Migliori. There's too many Miglioris around here.
Taking over Aqueduct. We're going to see the son of Tapiture to kick things off. So there's Trevor McCarthy, Rudy Rodriguez, and Miracle Nicky.
Trevor's riding a terrific rider. I don't know how he makes this horse a lot faster and gets him to win. I think he's an underlay at 6-1.
Florida Gator for Bill Morey.
I will say one thing. Bill Morey is a dangerous trainer. He hasn't been able to do much with this horse, but does get Lasix for the first time. If I was throwing in a bomb, I'd throw him in.
3-1. Red Revolution facing winners for the first time.
It might just end up being as simple as he's better than these horses.
Here's the 5, Hot Stepper. Charlie Baker looking for back-to-back.
He was on a dead rail last time out. Having said that, I still think he has to improve even off his best effort to win.
Dylan looking for number 4. Here's Don't Be Late, Jorge Vargas.
Tough to make a case for this horse. He's coming out of a softer field.
Print Rack, 9-2. He has speed.
I mean, the pace may be quick, but doesn't he feel like the speed of the speed? And Linda Rice, incredible, stretching out from sprints to routes off the claim.
Good skate. Jose Lezcano, the other Rudy Rodriguez runner.
I guess the question with him is how much you trust his last figure, because on the surface, he ran very fast last time.
And the only multiple winner who, if he could just break clean, maybe this race is over early.
I know, but I really thought I was getting a price and being clever picking him. And at 3-1, I don't think you're getting a lot of value, but I do think he's very dangerous.
Let's get Jonathan's thoughts here on the 8th.
I mean, this is weird. I mean, Andy and I are basically best friends. I mean, I don't know if he needs a roommate for Saratoga, but if he does, maybe we could live together. We could share clothes. It could be a nice little summer for us. I like the 9 as well. This horse was fast last time. He ran fast down at Parks when Andy mentioned that he missed him off of that trip that he had last time at Aqueduct, being wide all the way around there on a racetrack you probably didn't want to be wide on. And he comes back and he runs that big race. And look, I'm a believer in speed figures. It's how I learned to handicap, and it's the basis of everything that I do from a handicapping standpoint. I think it's the most reliable thing in racing. Now, you might find yourself liking one figure more than the other, or having to make some adjustments based on some of the techniques of some of the figure makers, but I do believe that it's the most consistent basis for information in this game. And Silippo, if he runs the last race, he's faster than these horses. I don't want Print Track at all. The only other horse I thought was interesting was the 3 Red Revolution, who's a horse that has been running against lesser, but maybe Rob Falcone snuck one by running this horse for 20 and no one took. The horse wins by 12. Rob's kind of figured him out, and there's no reason why he can't step forward and run another big race. So those are the 2 for me, and in fact, in my pick 6, I'm singled in the last leg. In my pick 6 that's alive, I only use the 3 and the 9. The 7 will knock me out.
All right, JK, good luck going forward.
Good luck moving into my apartment in Saratoga. It's the size of a shoebox. I admit my wardrobe would move him up, but I think he may have to increase the size of some of my clothes. All kidding aside, I think one of the reasons John and I have had similar opinions in some of these races is we're both looking at biases a lot. And these are races, the last race and this one, especially the betting, that's heavily influenced by horses that had trips, in some cases really with or against the bias.
Well, the money's starting to finally come in late here on Red Revolution, down to 5-2. Let's head back downstairs to Mig.
Yeah, guys, I still find this race very competitive, very intriguing. I still think that the 1 Miracle Nicky is going to outrun his odds. I think this horse is going to move forward. Some horses just race into condition. He's not going to be my top selection, but I do like what I see from him. I'll tell you, one horse that really kind of elevated himself to me when he got on the racetrack was the 5 Hot Stepper. Really kind of nondescript in the paddock. Loved the way he warmed up and loved his energy level. And ultimately, I'm going to go with the 7 Print Track. I think this horse could turn out to be the controlling speed. He's drawn towards the outside. He gets in the race the right way. And he made a nice impression in the paddock and did nothing on the racetrack to sway me from that opinion. I do think the 1 at 9-1 is kind of interesting, but I am with the 7 Print Track.
All right, Mig, thanks. 7-2, Print Track. Manny Franco, Linda Rice going to try and do it on the front end here in this stretch-out race for him.
Linda Rice, when she stretches a horse out from a sprint to a route, as she's doing with Print Rack coming off a claim, is 16 for 36, 44% with a 251 ROI with 25 hitting the board over the last 5 years. Now, listen, we're talking about $5 horses or $6 horses, but she's winning at a high percentage, so this move has worked well for her. And I will say one thing. This horse is the clear speed. I'm not as against him as Jonathan, even though I prefer the 9 and 3.
There he is, Manny Franco adjusting those goggles, heading into the gate. Favorite, the 3, Red Revolution, start number 3. Trying to remain perfect since moving to the Rob Falcone barn. Kendrick Carmouche aboard again. Let's go upstairs. John and Brielle, the call of the 8th from Aqueduct.
They're all in. And they're off. Silippo seemed to bear out right at the start. It is Print Track who's going out for the early lead. Good Skate on the outside, runs in second. Miracle Nicky advances at the rail from third. Then it's Red Revolution in fourth. Silippo is settled down now and is in fifth. Florida Gator runs in sixth. 3 lengths to the 2 trailers. Don't Be Late and Hot Stepper as they race up the backstretch. And it is Print Track who shows the way here by a length and a quarter. Good Skate runs in second, the quarter win in 23 and 1/5 seconds. Print Track the leader now by 2. Good Skate running in second. Silippo's on the extreme outside and in third. In between horses is Red Revolution. Down at the rail is Miracle Nicky, who's running in fifth. It's a big break, 7 lengths or so, back to a Florida Gator. Then Don't Be Late and Hot Stepper. The half went in 46 and 2/5 seconds. It is Print Track by a length. Good Skate still in second. Almost 3 lengths now to Silippo in third. 3 more to Miracle Nicky and Red Revolution. It is Print Track who's been in front right from the start, continues to lead. Good Skate on the outside. Print Track, Good Skate. Now they are shoulder to shoulder as they come into the stretch. 3/4 went in 1:12 and 2. Good Skate has taken over. Print Track is back running in second. Then it's Silippo and Miracle Nicky. Hot Stepper has come on from the back of the pack, but it is Good Skate who has the lead, and Good Skate has opened up here in deep stretch. It will be Good Skate on to victory here. Good Skate in the slop. Hot Stepper up for second. Print Track was third.
Good skate, Rudy Rodriguez. Jose Lezcano goes off at 6-1 here.
Tell you what, Rudy Rodriguez's horses have been running very, very well. He stalked Print Rack, looked comfortable up front, but came up empty in the stretch. He was much the best in here. A very nice ride by Dylan getting second. I know he didn't get it done, but he gave Hot Steffer a terrific ride to get up for second. But I think Jose Lezcano, you almost forgot about him because other riders are winning so many more races, but he's obviously a top rider, and he just was on much the best horse in this race. I don't know if Slippo didn't like the wet track or whatever. He looked like he was making a move in the turn. He came up dead empty, and how about Red Revolution? He was empty a quarter mile of the race.
He had nothing in here. Disappointing effort off that big maiden claiming win. Good skate, much the best. Here in the 8th, goes off at 6-1. Rudy Rodriguez, Jose Lezcano. Black Sheep Squadron Racing Stable, and a 3-year-old son of American Freedom. Loving these off conditions today to win at a price on a pick 6 carryover day.
This horse absolutely galloped in here. We really haven't seen, I mean, we saw a favorite win the first leg, co-favorite in the second leg, Dear Doctor a favorite, so Demo Doctor, so logical prices, so they should be okay. This horse will help it a little bit.
8-5-7-9. We'll have the prices when we come back, and we're going to look ahead to the weekend as well. Could be a big one for the coach, D. Wayne Lucas. He'll be represented on the road to the Oaks and Derby in Hot Springs. Secreto, she is the one to beat in that Grade 3 Honeybee. And does he have a Derby contender in Ethereal Road?
Eclipse champion Blaine ranks among the nation's top sires at a fraction of the price. His recent top runners include Aga Khan stud Saidabad, a top performer overseas, stakes winners Mandate, Officiating, Love the Nest, Dancing Kiki, and Blaine JD. With success on the track and success in the ring, this proven son of Arch is truly a gold value stallion. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Back on America's Day at the Races program, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Late Pick 4 coming up next at Oaklawn. 6 furlong sprint, $10,000 claiming race. And we got 3 runners on the board at 5-2. Let's head to Lafitte and Gary for more.
Horses on the track here, Greg, for the upcoming 6th race. Hopefully no equipment issues in this one, Gary. I wanted to circle back to what happened in the 5th race with Poolside Manor and jockey John Geraldo, the saddle slipping. That has to be the worst feeling in the world for a rider.
It is absolutely the worst feeling when this happens in a race, and that's when you got to start communicating with the other riders. When that saddle slips, it's like driving a fast car with no steering and no brakes.
No thanks.
Going into that turn, guys in front of you, they don't know that your saddle is slipped. So the best thing you can do is shout out to them, say, hey, I'm in trouble here, saddle slipped, help me out, please help me out. And most of the time that works. And it's got to work or you're going to hit the turf, and that's not fun either.
Fortunately, no incident. John Geraldo not riding in this race. He'll be on a contender in the 7th race in Substantial. This $10,000 claimer, the claiming game so strong here at Oaklawn, more than $7.5 million spent claiming horses thus far, Gary. Tapalong, strong effort in his most recent. 3-1 on the morning line, currently 2-1 favorite in that daylight win here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, and listen, if she runs back to that race, she's not going to lose in this spot. But the one thing I noticed about Tapalong, when she does not clear early and make the lead by herself, she normally doesn't run her best race. She was able to clear last time. I don't think she's going to be able to clear. And if she does clear, it's not going to be easy for her to do it early on. There is other pace in there, the horse directly inside of her. She's 20-1, but she's got early speed. The 2 horses got early speed, so she's going to have some company up front today.
Is she quick enough, though, she may have to work harder, but if the accelerator is down, pedal to the metal, can she make the lead?
I don't think so. Not on the long lonesome. I think that she's going to have horses on the inside and outside of her that are going to be putting pressure on her and going to take away from her finishing ability. That's the way I see it, Lafitte.
JK has something to look for right from the start of this 6-furlong dash.
Yeah, look, I thought the 2 was interesting. Summer Storm. This is a situation where normally when I see a horse get claimed off of Robertino Diodoro, I want nothing to do with that horse. Robertino does a great job. They're aggressive when they drop horses at Oaklawn Park because the purse structure there with the horses running for so much money, it works out from a business standpoint. So usually when Diodoro drops one, most times I'm out. I don't want anything to do. But this horse ran so well last time, obviously was worth more than the 62.5 that the horse ran for last time. And now Wayne Potts picks up. And Wayne Potts has had a great meet so far. He's 20% for the meet. So if anyone can keep this horse in form, to me, it feels like someone like Wayne Potts. I'm not crazy about the inside draw, but I do think this is the horse you want, the 2, Summer Storm.
All right, well, Giovanni Franco, Gary represents, going to be aboard there. Wayne Potts claiming off of Diodoro, and this horse coming off a convincing win last time out.
Yeah, I mean, I just, like Jonathan said, I have trouble. I mean, the stats claiming off Diodoro, especially at Oaklawn, are atrocious. But, I mean, obviously this horse off the last race is a major, major contender in here.
And a monster drill since that claim.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe they're hoping to get the horse claimed for $10,000.
Yeah.
I also don't like betting horses that win for $6,000 moving up to 10, but I wouldn't bet them, but I don't have a clever idea in here. It looks like the 5 Tapalong is the speed, though could get pressure early by the 4, could use a big price in here.
Well, the 2, the 5, the 8, all at the same number on the board. And I want to go back to that comment you made, maybe, Wayne Potts trying to get this one claimed. Sometimes that's why you see put in this really super fast drill. It was the quickest of 99 in the morning, and people might be drawn to that and say, oh, someone's in really good form. It could have maybe pushed her all out to get that number.
No question about it. I mean, without seeing it, you can't tell. And that's why workout reports, I mean, so many people, I know Jonathan's a big advocate of them as well, and I know you look at them. I mean, because I couldn't, I could see them working out. It wouldn't mean anything to me, but it's how they worked, right? It's not how fast they went, because there's a lot of times, I think if you talk to people who are experts in watching workouts, they're going to tell you they don't even care about the times at all, pretty much.
No, good point. We'll see if Summer Storm, the 2, can handle the step-up 7-year-old mare who, at least at the 6,000 level, was the best, but she's going to get tougher company here.
I agree, but then again, you look at her, she ran for 25 before that and was claimed out of it, so maybe it's 6,000, good claim, but maybe if you think she's doing well, 10,000 isn't a terrible claim, and obviously, I mean, it's a claiming frenzy at Oaklawn. Great
and they're
purses.
coming in from all places.
Yeah. No, it's a fun meet. I mean, I've enjoyed it, and I think you'll agree. Handicapping the races, they're not easy. But I think there are opportunities sometimes, like all racetracks. There are some races, for me, I can't see anybody beyond the shortest prices in here. I didn't have any clever ideas. But there are opportunities. Big fields, interesting racing, different places. Oaklawn's a place you got to put in the work. But I think if you do, you will find opportunities.
We're set for the 6th here. It's the start of the pick 4. Vic Stoff for the call.
Hot mess. They're at the post. They're off. Could You and Summer Storm shows speed. Tap Along is into the bit early. Lovely Lady Lexi at the rail. Then Fancified and Little Miss Hot Mess with Sandy Sangria just inside of her. And the trailer is Hit It Twice. Summer Storm emerges with a very short lead from Could You and Tap Along. Then it's a length back to Little Miss Hot Mess, who's 4 deep and on the move. A lineup of 4, all 4 from the front are Hoptown Honey between horses, a 4-wide Sandy Sangria, Fancified inside of her, and Lovely Lady Lexi, and somebody's going to have to get out of there, and it was Hoptown Honey who had to slam on the brakes. 5 lengths further back to Hit It Twice. Summer Storm, the one to beat. It is Summer Storm at the quarter pole. She's a length and a half in front of Tap Along in second. Little Miss Hot Mess is 3 deep in third. Could You is fourth. Sandy Sangria fifth, and Summer Storm is traveling nicely at the top of the stretch, cuts the corner and leads. Summer Storm, a 3-length advantage now over Tap Along, Lil Miss Hot Mess, and Could You at the rail. Summer Storm to the final furlong and still 3 in front. Tap Along, Lil Miss Hot Mess, and Could You will battle for minor awards as Summer Storm levels out and now just pours it on. Summer Storm 5 in front. Summer Storm won by 5 over Tap Along, then Lil Miss Hot Mess, and Could You.
I am part of the fan club of Summer Storm. How do you think she got taken?
I mean, the way she won, it feels like you're lucky if you claimed her in here. She just absolutely crushed the field, making that workout seem legit. The favorites ran 1, 2, 3 in here, but it wasn't exactly close between them.
5th career win for this 7-year-old mare, and now she's gone back-to-back at this Oaklawn meet. Winning for 6,000, stepping up for 10, and winning again. She went off the favorite in here. Did she stay with the Wayne Potts barn? We'll try and find out for you when we come back. Summer Storm starting off this late pick 4 with a convincing victory. We're going to take a timeout. When we return, we'll look ahead to tomorrow and the weekend action, the feature, the Stymie 1-turn mile and Green Light Go. 5-year-old whose only stakes win came in the 2nd start of his career, back as a 2-year-old, looking for his 2nd stakes win ever, and he's got to deal with Waxman, who's the up-and-comer for Todd Pletcher. Stay with us.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe. And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring. With his biggest and best quality of books in the pipeline, the sun shines bright on this value sire. Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
Back on America's Day at the Races program brought to you by Naira Bets, where you can play it all. Bet any race, anywhere, anytime. Go to NairaBets.com or download that Naira Bets app to get signed up and started. 6th at Oaklawn, Summer Storm. Dominant here. There is an inquiry, we're not quite sure involving what.
Could it possibly be the 5 coming out into the 9? I'm trying to imagine what it was. It can't involve the 2 unless something happened that he was sending off bad vibes. But maybe the 5 comes out a little bit here into the 9.
Yeah.
I don't see it as being severe. Not involving the top 4. So unless you're in the pentafecta or octafecta, you're probably okay. Figure this one out, Greg.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking the horse in the rail cut
Yep.
off the horse in pink.
Yep, looked like it. That's David Cohen, who kind of sat up in the saddle there.
Okay, did the white blinker pink, did that horse finish 4th? Maybe that horse finished 4th? I don't think a horse is coming down based on that. Do you? I mean, if anything, maybe the outside horse came in a little bit, right? Because that horse, I don't.
All right, we'll see if, and it looks like the inquiry sign is down. All right, so there's that. Back to New York.
That was thrilling, though, Greg. I don't know about you, but
glad we sort of sorted that out. 9th at Aqueduct, $32,000 claiming race to close out this Friday card. 1-turn mile Mexican Wonder Boy. 5-2 favorite right now. He won for $32,002 back on a sloppy track here in New York. Going to try and do it again for a different barn. We'll be back. The finale from New York when we return.
Run Happy, the #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse Champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2, program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. The Stymie, the feature on the Saturday card here in South Ozone Park in Green Light Go. Back with Jimmy Jerkins, and again, back at his best. He admitted this performance probably aided by the racetrack a little bit, but it was the fastest mile run at this winter meet so far.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think the rail was a gigantic advantage that day, and he wasn't on it until he moved down there in the stretch. But I think it's fair to say the racetrack helped him a little bit. But he was a little against the racetrack in his prior start in the fall high weight, and he ran a similar figure. The only thing I'll say about Green Light Go, looking at him, is you look at his PPs, and you have to think that the Stronach stable that owns him is probably saying to themselves, why did we ever take this horse away from Jimmy Jerkins? Because he basically did nothing but run well for Jimmy before being switched, and he's run great for him afterwards while he ran okay in the middle. Jimmy Jerkins seems to know exactly, I mean, he knows what he's doing with any horse, but he seems to really know what he's doing with this one.
Yeah, it's a good point. The horse has been just back to a horse that had monster expectations back when he was a 2-year-old, won that Saratoga Special, was favored against Tiz the Law in the Champagne, but he never won again since that Saratoga Special until April of last year, and then again until he won last time out so impressively for Jimmy Jerkins. He's 6-5. What do you think from being drawn inside? And is a mile best for him?
That's a good question. I'm not sure what's best for him, but he seems to be good, at least up to a mile. I'm wondering if there's going to be that big a price discrepancy between he and Waxman, though. Waxman's last race was pretty darn impressive. He had a pretty good trip, but he was close to a contested pace and won impressively. The third-place finisher, Southern District, came back with a gigantic effort in a subsequent start. I think for Todd Pletcher, Waxman is a horse on the come.
And I was just looking at the weather. Sunny skies tomorrow. Not good news for Milton the Monster. He's been a lot better on off tracks, but he ran a huge race at Parks.
Yeah, I
so
think
John Service taking a shot.
His connections certainly wish that they were running today.
Yeah.
I think the track will still be wet tomorrow, but it'll dry out quite a bit. We'll be harrowed tomorrow, a much different track.
That is the Stymie. Of course, the recent fame. Vino Rosso?
Vino Rosso used it as a stepping stone for his Breeders' Cup win, so don't turn your nose up at those winter stakes, the Big A.
Cross country pick 5. Stymie's part of it. It's leg 3. It ends with the Rebel and the road to the Triple Crown. It begins early on with that Saudi Cup $20 million purse in Mandaloun, newly crowned Kentucky Derby winner from last year, and Midnight Bourbon trying to upend the defending champ, Mishrif. Looking to go back-to-back. If he wins that race, by the way, he's the richest racehorse of all time.
I still respect Forgo and Kelso, who did it the hard way when they were running in grade 1s with $50,000 purses.
I agree. $32,000 claiming race to close this Friday card out here in New York. 1-turn mile, Mexican Wonder Boy. Dylan Davis looking for number 4 on this Friday card.
He's got one thing to do, Dylan, and that's to break cleanly, because he's a fast horse. Now, striking speed's not slow. He could be a little bit forward in here. I won't be surprised to see him try to chase even Auburn Hills, who I think has a big chance, the 9, be chasing. But Mexican Wonder Boy's quick. He ran against better horses last time in a heavily contested pace and didn't run that badly. I think if he's able to break cleanly and he can shake clear, even if he's going a little quick, I think he's going to be tough to beat.
Blewett, the 6, who has major back class. He's not that same horse anymore. He has to be forward to be successful, do you think?
I think he does. And I mean, I know he's been able to get the run of the race in the last 2, and he's a little dressed up, but I don't think he's as fast as 3 or 4 horses in this race. I'm not sure he's faster than Liam's Fire, the 9, and the 8 and 9. It's hard to see him getting a win, but listen, if you like Blewett, he's 8-1.
And a horse who, back in 2020, he was only beat 2 lengths to Funny Guy in the Commentator at a mile.
No, there was a time when he first started for Todd Pletcher that he seemed to have a lot of potential.
There he is, 8 years old now, 7-time winner in 22 starts. There's the 9, who potentially could be a danger here. Auburn Hills, Mike Maker, Manny Franco.
I agree with the public. He's the biggest threat to the favorite.
5-2. Can Dylan get number 4? You know what he's going to do from the rail.
Right. He has one job, break cleanly and go.
Crypto Cash, blinkers going on.
Was disappointed in his last effort. Didn't think he ran that well, but he should get some pace to close into.
Supreme Aura 6-1.
Finished well ahead of Crypto Cash last time out.
Blinkers come off easy shot. Here he is, Jose Lezcano.
I can understand why some people like this horse, and if he gets a lot of pace to close into, he is a threat here.
Bourbon Bay, Trevor McCarthy.
I say one thing. I don't know if he's good enough to compete here, but Antonio Arriaga has great numbers off the claim in dirt routes.
The once very promising and accomplished Blewett. It's won over $270,000.
You know, I was once very promising as well. As hard as you may be able to believe.
We had our whole lives ahead of us at one time. Striking Speed, 24-1.
Yeah, he found the right field a few starts back. These races are just too tough for him.
One of the best named horses in the game. Son of Palace Malice, Auburn Hills.
It is a tremendous name. And you say he's dropping, but you could think he's dropping. This horse was claimed for $20,000. He's just running where he belongs.
Ran okay against Miles D 3-back, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a major player in here.
Lost in Rome. He's 21-1.
Yeah, he's a little bit tough.
And on the outside, 20-1, any shot for Liam's Fire?
The best he can do is probably chase from the outside. He does have a couple good races, but his one race that's coming off the layoff was a disaster. He was, though, at least if you want to make an excuse, involved in a contested pace that fell apart.
God, where'd that Belmont race come from? An 86 Beyer, 6-length win. That was only 3 starts back. And he's 21-1. Minute to post finale here on this card at Aqueduct. We still have a lot coming up from Oaklawn. Features still ahead as well. But a good race, really, to close it out for the level.
Oh, I agree. I think the 8th and 9th today, not that my opinions were any good, at least in the 8th, but I thought there were 2 of the more interesting races on this card. I mean, this is a highly competitive race. I do like the favorite in here, but there are places you can go. If the pace gets hot, a horse like the 4 for Gustavo Rodriguez off the claim could do well. I'm not going to totally throw out the 5 because of the trainer change, but I think the 1 and 9, the horses are the first, second choices. I think they're the right 2 horses.
Good betting race, Jonathan, to close out this card here at Aqueduct.
Yeah, look, I like the 1 Mexican Wonder Boy as well. This is a horse that's run well for 4 different trainers, which makes me feel like he's probably at least fairly easy horse to train. So it feels like Ray Handel, if you know, and I think Ray can move a horse up off the claim as well. So this is a horse who won't have any problem with the racetrack. He's tactical from the inside, like Andy's pointed out. We've seen with Trevor, Kendrick, and with Dylan. They don't take things away from horses typically. This horse has some tactical speed. And, I heard someone say that, I wonder if Mexican Wonder Boy and Blewett are going to hook up. Mexican Wonder Boy is significantly faster than Blewett. Now, I understand that Blewett sometimes makes the lead, but he makes the lead in slow-paced races. I don't think that'll be the case with Mexican Wonder Boy. I think he'll go to the front. The other horse that you guys talked about that I think is interesting is the 9 Auburn Hills. Actually, I don't think is interesting as the 9 Auburn Hills. This is the horse they claimed. They had success with. They won 3 times with this horse since they claimed, and the horse has just completely gone downhill. He was 4th beaten 8, 5 beaten 5, 6 beaten 20. Now he's dropping in for a tag. For me, this feels like a give up. And even though he does have some back races and he's a classy animal, he was a classy animal, I don't think he is that today. I could be wrong. I'm going to go with the 1 Mexican Wonder Boy. And my pick 6 that is no longer with us, I singled Mexican Wonder Boy.
He was back to Auburn Hills. I mean, he was facing monster horses compared to this level in his last few starts.
I disagree with Jonathan about a give up. I mean, I think it's a realistic spotting. Jordan Wyckoff, the owner, he and his father have 3 Diamonds Farm, his father Kirk. They don't win races because they run where they can't win. They've tried in races, he's not good enough. Is it arguable his form's declined a little bit? I'm not so sure. I mean, he got the right spots. He was claimed for $20,000. They've made plenty of money with this horse. They're running him where he should be running. If somebody wants to take him for 32, I'm sure they'll be happy even if he wins today. I think this is where he should be running. I don't agree with Jonathan that it's a negative drop down. I could be proven wrong though.
He's 7-2. Manny Franco will be aboard for Mike Maker. There's Crypto Cash about to move in. It's still Mexican Wonder Boy from the rail. See if Dylan Davis can notch number 4 on this Friday card. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call.
Waiting for Bourbon Bay, Lost in Rome, and Liam's Fire. They're all in the gate. And they're off. Hesitant start for number 1 Mexican Wonder Boy, who is now moving up from the rail. Bourbon Bay is out well along with Auburn Hills. Liam's Fire's on the extreme outside. Blewett's in between horses, so 4 of them across, and they're joined by Mexican Wonder Boy to make it 5 across for the early lead. Then it's 3 lengths back to Striking Speed in 6th, followed by Crypto Cash in 7th. Lost in Rome on the outside is in 8th. At the back of the pack, Easy Shot and Supreme Aura. Mexican Wonder Boy has now taken the lead. It's Mexican Wonder Boy by a half length over Auburn Hills through a quarter in 23 seconds. Striking Speed, a close-up 3rd. And then Bourbon Bay racing in 4th. Blue is alongside in 5th, followed by Liam's Fire. Then Crypto Cash as they head for the half-mile pole. And it is Mexican Wonder Boy who ran the opening half in 46-1. Mexican Wonder Boy by a little more than a length. Auburn Hills, striking speed. They're right together, second and third. Blewett is next in fourth. Then comes Bourbon Bay. Down at the rail is Crypto Cash, followed on the outside by Lost in Rome, and then Easy Shot, all chasing Mexican Wonder Boy, who leads the field to the quarter pole. Mexican Wonder Boy now by 3. Striking speed in second. Auburn Hills is dropping back. Then comes Crypto Cash and Bourbon Bay. Easy Shot out in the middle of the track. Here's striking speed up to challenge Mexican Wonder Boy. And here's Easy Shot gaining along with Crypto Cash and Bourbon Bay. And on the far outside, it's Lost in Rome. They're coming on for the finish here. It is Crypto Cash and Easy Shot. Easy Shot, Crypto Cash, and Lost in Rome. Oh, it was tight at the end between Easy Shot and Crypto Cash as we wrap up the Friday card.
Tight finish in the end. It looked like Easy Shot, but Crypto Cash right there as well.
Yeah. Probably a tough beat for Kendrick on Crypto Cash. It looks like Jose Lezcano with back-to-back to close out the day off the claim for Gustavo Rodriguez with a narrow victory against Easy Shot. But you're right, it's very, very close. Mexican Wonder Boy didn't break. And then rushed up into a very fast pace. He looked to be cruising, but he hit a wall coming for home. And here came the cavalry charge. This was a collapsed race. Even the 10 at 32-1 made a scare there. Yeah. This was close. Tough beat, though, for Crypto Cash, who did run very well in here. But it does appear like on the outside, Jose Lezcano. Nice close of the day for Jose. You're almost forgetting what a good rider he is. These other guys have been riding so well.
Yeah. We talked so much about him on the grass. Of course, not getting those turf opportunities this time of year. But making the most of winning here, it looks like, on the off-going. Jose on the outside on Easy Shot. Kendrick Carmouche, Crypto Cash on the inside. And it appears it is Easy Shot 4-1, if indeed it is. The 6-year-old son, a trap shot to close out the card, and it is put up 4-2, 10-5.
And this is a classic meltdown.
That was tough.
Yeah. No, it wasn't tough. You had the 4.
No. We're going to switch out here. We're going to have Mig on set with me. I'll see you tomorrow at 3 Eastern.
I think 3:30 to 7, you and I together for a solid 3.5 marathon tomorrow. But some really good races, both here and at Oaklawn.
Stymie here, Rebel at Oaklawn on that road to the Triple Crown. A lot more coming up today, though. Feature still ahead from Hot Springs. Be joined by Mig after a short timeout. Steve Asmussen, of course, he holds a strong hand potentially in that Rebel. Chasing time. Looking to go back-to-back off a big win last down. They'll send out Stellar Tap as well.
Anybody going 70, 50, 75, 850, 75, 175, 175, 150, 175. Ralph, 850,000. Thank you.
Volatile in front by 2. Whitmore is down at the rail. Forense Fire and Mind Control. It's Volatile in front as they pass the 16th hole. Volatile victorious in the Vanderbilt. 1 by 2 lengths.
850,000. Thank you.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS2 program, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Card in the books here in New York, and a good way to, or exciting stretch to at least to close it out. Easy shot in a tight one with Crypto Cash. Jose Lezcano out dueling Kendrick Carmouche. 4-1, on your winner. 5 career wins now for the 6-year-old son of Trap Shot. Pays $10.60 for the victory. 4-2-10, 32-1 shot was making up some ground late in that race as the Aqueduct card comes to a close. Still a lot more, including the feature. Coming up from Hot Springs and joining me on set, winningest rider in the history of this racetrack. Won a few races on days like this here in the sloppy going, Richard Migliori.
Yeah, the last race was one of those races. Looked like any one of 6 or 7 horses could have won it at the 8th pole. Jose Lezcano, good strong finish from him. Kendrick Carmouche riding in terrific form. One of those races, though, that the pace was really hot and contested and kind of melted down late, but a good way to finish out the card. And I don't miss riding as much on sloppy tracks than when it's fast track and beautiful weather.
But if you're winning, it was still fun, right?
The thing I always said was it's always warm in the winner's circle. It doesn't matter where it is, what the purse is, what racetrack, what conditions. If you win, you're happy.
Well, we get these. We don't have to brave the elements here as a broadcaster. So once we get to Belmont, a little bit, but not much here. So we're protected. Back at Hot Springs, guys, we're talking about a chilly afternoon out there as well. Weekend looking like in the 30s potentially. This 7th coming up from Oaklawn. 6 furlong sprint, 30,000 starter allowance, and flat lucky. We'd all love to be that in this game. It's better to be lucky than good. We know that. Ron Moquette sends out David Cabrera, who has had just an incredibly hot hand over the last week or so, especially Saturday, President's Day on Monday. Started out on Monday winning the first 4 on the card. It's been going pretty good.
Yeah, he's going well in a dogfight with Ricardo Santana Jr., perennially leading rider at Oaklawn. But a real solid colony there. It seems like every year the colony gets a little bit deeper, a little bit stronger, the likes of Giovanni Franco, who's doing really well, Gary Stevens handling his book. I mean, it's just a really good colony.
Call to post, and we're going to get a look at this field with one of the horses vying for favoritism. We'll kick things off, who's in raging form right now. Devil's Tower. He's going to try and win his 3rd in a row. 4-year-old son of Into Mischief. And he can be forward, and he's drawn inside.
Yeah, he's speedy, and he has the rail. That usually simplified things for me when I was riding. Another rider handled by Gary Stevens, Francisco Arrieta, right? So, no, I'm sorry. I made a mistake.
Diago.
Yeah. Sorry. My apologies. But Devil's Tower, speed from the inside, should be involved early.
Well, he's actually looking to win 4 of his last 5 in here in just tremendous form. 30,000 starter allowance, the condition here. And you look through this group, I mean, Jack Van Berg, the 4, he's got some pace, maybe a little bit with the 8, but he should be able to control.
I think he should be able to control from the inside, particularly with the rail. You come out with intention. And guys that are outside of you sometimes will defer to you.
Well, we're going to look at him first here. Here he is, those white blinkers, trying to make it 3 straight.
Raging form from the inside is 1-for-1 over a wet surface, too. Gets some moisture in the track there at Oaklawn. You can see it's sealed there as well.
He's only trying an off-track he won. That was a Keeneland, too. Substantial, the 2. He's 13-1.
Well, he'd like to see things get pretty hot on the front end. That would be his best chance to have them come back to him a little bit and close.
Moe's Mojo, 9-2, Randy Morse.
Another horse that I think will be a bit more of a deep closer here. He's laid up closer when they go a little bit further, like 7/8.
Jack Van Berg, 5-1 for Robertino Diodoro.
Named for the late, great Hall of Famer who trained Ali Sheba. Roddy Valenti, Flying Peace stable with a runner.
Long-term thinking at 7-1. He won 2 back in the slop going a mile.
Going a mile. He wasn't as effective sprinting last time. David Kohler riding for Steve Asmussen.
Got a big figure in that win, but that was, again, going longer. Yodel Liehu, Cody Rosen. I can never get it out.
I just enjoyed hearing you attempt it.
Ultimate at 7-1. Good luck, Vic Stauffer.
Yeah, absolutely. Ultimate could be well placed from the outside here and has figures that makes him a contender.
Ricardo Santana Jr., this one just claimed, now with Mike Maker.
Yeah, first time Mike Maker, first time Ricardo.
Flat Lucky Ron Moquette. He just missed by a neck last start to Ultimate.
Good outside draw, a horse that can be tactical.
He's your favorite right now. 3 of his 9 career wins have come on this surface. Let's head back to Hot Springs with Lafitte and Gary.
The 6-horse, Greg. Let's go with the 6-horse. Yodelier Who. To be ridden by Giovanni Franco. Only jockey today with multiple wins, seeking a 3rd in what would be an upset, Gary. This is your first season ever having worked with Giovanni Franco. What have you learned working with him that perhaps you didn't know beforehand?
Well, his versatility. He was thought more of a turf rider, expert at turf riding in California. That's not true. He's very adaptable, and he's very coachable. For a guy that's in his early 30s, he wants to learn, and I'm learning how to teach him, and it's quite a bit of fun. He comes over to the condo, and Tiago lives in the condo with us. Won't get off point here, but he comes over, handicaps the races with me, and he is very, very coachable, Lafitte.
And he's riding for North America's all-time leading trainer tomorrow in the Rebel Kairama. Steve Asmussen here, represented in this 7th race as well. Asmussen has a long-term thinking going in. Tomorrow, Asmussen is running 13 total horses and seeking a 5th win in the Rebel Stakes. Going back to Long Range Toddy, who upset Improbable a few years back. You may have heard of Curlin, eventual Horse of the Year in 2007. Windward Passage and snuck in. Asmussen looking for a 5th Rebel, Gary, and chasing time. Perhaps the horse that looks best coming into the Rebel, really starting to put things together, and this will be his stakes debut.
He was super impressive in his last race. It was an allowance race, taking a big step up, but the way he did it, I was very impressed with what he was able to do early on in the race when challenged. And actually, a horse passed him early on into the backstretch. He showed the ability to be able to adapt to it. No, he's got a good mind on him, and he can really run. We didn't see the best of him. I think he's maybe the most likely upsetter of New Grange in tomorrow's Rebel.
Made the lead on that afternoon, figures to be in a stocking position tomorrow, the way the race looks on paper. So yeah, for Asmussen, Kairama with Giovanni Franco, a stellar tap, who was the record breaker, 9,446 win this summer for Asmussen, and chasing time for my racehorse here in the Rebel Stakes. Key stepping stone towards the Arkansas Derby, major Kentucky Derby prep, New Grange, post 2, the favorite for trainer Bob Baffert. We'll have much more on the Rebel, also the 3-year-old fillies taking center stage in the Honeybee. First things first, nearing post time for the 7th at Oaklawn. JK, what'd you come up with?
LP Tree. Listen, here's what I think, okay? The 6-horse. I can't win, but here's what I want to say. I think someone just spent an entire day at Druthers and then got home and thought it'd be a funny idea to name a horse Yodel-A-E-Hoo, and then just spelt it wrong, and it was just too late. Because it does make sense if it's Yodel-A-E-Hoo, but not Yodel-E-A-Hoo. Anyways, I think the 4, Jack Van Berg, is a horse you want to play here. This is a horse that was claimed for $40,000 for Robertino Diodoro. He ran starter allowance, meaning the horse is protected in that race. Did not run well at all. Comes back protected. Diodoro is aggressive. Flying P, aggressive. Roddy Valenti, aggressive. When they don't have a horse that can run or they want to try to win, they'll drop. They're not dropping. They're protecting. I think the 4, Jack Van Berg, might run back to his race 2 races back.
Well, if he does that, that's going to be a win, you would think. Got a big number there. You know, back to the 6. He's got some big numbers.
Who is that?
He has run. Yodel-E-A-Hoo. I'm just going to say it the way it's written. 6, that's a big price on a horse who actually has some ability in here.
Absolutely. But, that's the beauty of Oaklawn Park, how competitive, big fields, competitive races. And if you like somebody, you could mine out that nugget, a horse that's going to be a little bit overlooked, and get a price that you're happy with.
Last couple of starts, a little bit troubling to see him kind of turning the tables, but it is a big number. There's Ultimate, the 7. Tim Martin, this horse won for $30,000 starter allowance, same condition he's in today. This is a tough $30,000 starter allowance, though, here.
It is, but don't you think that he makes some sense on paper at a square price?
Well, he beat Flat Lucky in that race, so I know it was wide in that performance, and it is 3rd off the bench, so there's some reasons to think today could be different for Flat Lucky. But, yeah, I think that price is too big.
Yeah, but again, when you get full fields that are competitive and you're trying to figure out trips, and, you know, as a former jockey, you know, Gary Stevens and myself, we have kind of the same approach. We look at it like, if we were riding the race, how do we think this race is going to be run? Where will the certain horses be laying? Who's the speed? What's the trip you need to win? Less on maybe how to wager on it, but how to approach it from a tactic standpoint.
And I mean, I've learned more every time I've worked with you over the years, but you went as far as not just looking at horses' styles, but riders' styles too, and kind of their tells if they'd be in front of you and things like that.
Absolutely. Riders have habits, just like any other athlete, and you know who's going to go immediately to a left-handed crop and drift out, who's going to guard the rail of life. You got to basically exploit every opportunity and every piece of information you get.
Can Francisco Arrieta get loose from the rail? He's on the inside with a 1. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
At the post. They're off. Awkward start, Substantial. Fast start, Jack Van Berg right out to the front. Devil's Tower away in second, then Ultimate and Flat Lucky with Moe's Mojo, Long Term Thinking, and War Detonator. Then comes Yodel Yehu, and the slow start has Substantial at the back of the pack, and Jack Van Berg is flying along. Jack Van Berg at the half-mile pole has opened up a 3.5-length lead on Devil's Tower in second. 2.5 to Moe's Mojo in third. Long-Term Thinking is at the rail, and Ultimate 3D. Flat Lucky has 7 lengths to make up. He's 2 in front of Yodel Yehu and War Detonator. Substantial is still the trailer, and Jack Van Berg is rolling along in front. Jack Van Berg to the quarter pole. Now just a 2-length lead as Devil's Tower begins to run after him in second. And here comes Devil's Tower, and he means business outside of Jack Van Berg. Jack Van Berg the leader, but only a length now as Devil's Tower is on the attack, going for 3 in a row, and he's got a good chance to get it. Substantial is running a monster race after that slow start, and so is Flat Lucky up the rail. Jack Van Berg and Devil's Tower. These two, Flat Lucky in third. Devil's Tower puts ahead in front. Now a neck, now a half-length. Devil's Tower, yes. Devil's Tower beat Jack Van Berg, Flat Lucky, and Yodel Yehu.
Devil's Tower having to run down Jack Van Berg here after being more forwardly placed the last couple of starts and victories.
Yeah, Jack Van Berg fired out of the gate, took control of the race. And Devil's Tower was more in that stalking position, but he was able to extricate himself from the rail. Francisco Arrieta also in that dogfight for leading rider. We got many guys there riding in great form, and Devil's Tower just in raging form. He obviously enjoys Oaklawn Park.
He does indeed. Now a 3-time winner already at this meet. Not easy to do. And Francisco Arrieta continuing to have a strong meet, as is trainer Chris Hartman, winning it better than 24% now. 4-year-old son of Into Mischief wins in 1:10-2, 1:49 finish here in the 7th from Oaklawn. We're going to take a timeout. Still have some big ones to look forward to coming up over the weekend. In fact, we still have the Friday feature ahead. But the Rebel, New Grange, putting that perfect record on the line for Bob Baffert in a rematch of the Southwest when he was better than Barber Road. He'll get to face him again. Can Barber Road turn the tables? Stay with us.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 7 millionaires. With over 10% stakes performers, his recent top runners include Tarabi, placed in the Grade 1 Spinaway and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 2 winner Plum Ali, multi-millionaire Shivaji, plus these standout performers. Now his biggest book in the past decade will be 3-year-olds in 2022. A proven value sire, First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
And on the morning of the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need to create the noblest of all creatures. So God made a racehorse. He needed a horse that is faster, smarter, sleeker, and sounder, so God made a racehorse. He created an animal sound of wind with oversized nostrils to breathe fire like a dragon and turn oxygen into rocket fuel. He gave it a kind eye so his caretaker could look into his soul. And then on the afternoon of the 8th day, God realized that he needed an animal that was even swifter, smarter, and sounder.
An animal that can compete on the world stage and win iconic races like at Royal Ascot. So God created a legend. The legend lives on at Alapa.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Today, 7th in the books in Hot Springs and Devil's Tower. This horse is on a roll right now. He's won 3 in a row, 4 of his last 5.
Yeah, son of Into Mischief. How many times we've heard that on the show? And, you know, did it with a little bit of different style, very aggressively handled. Jack Vanberg outfooted him. And he just was game, ran down a loose on the lead horse that was very well met today. Horse is in raging form.
2 for 2 on off going now as well. Chris Hartman having an outstanding meet at Oaklawn, as is Francisco Arrieta. Jack Vanberg at 8-1 underneath, flat lucky 7-2 checks in third. $390 trifecta for $2 for that combination.
Talk about value.
Wow. 8th at Oaklawn, an allowance non-winners of 3 lifetime group, 2-turn mile coming up. And Prodigious Bay, this horse is quick, making his 3rd off a short layoff for Ron Moquette, looking for his 3rd career win.
Speed, handles wet surface, likes Oaklawn. Ron Moquette lives on the grounds, basically.
He does. Got the best seat in the house on that backstretch. Grade 2 Rebel. It is our ABR race of the week on the road to that first Saturday in May. 50-point race to the winner, basically guaranteeing a spot in that starting gate in the Kentucky Derby. And it's a rematch of the top 4 finishers, really, from that Southwest. Won by Newgrange for Bob Baffert. He's undefeated, putting that perfect record on the line.
Yeah, and a horse that just didn't look like he was running at all in the Southwest. He was under pressure. Johnny Blasquez was after him. Much like riding a bicycle, Johnny kept having to pedal. He was in a long, sustained drive, and it just never looked like he was traveling comfortably. Now, this was his 3rd start. He's improved with every start, but it looked to me like he was done at 3 or 4 different junctures of this race, and he just kept finding. It looked at one point like he wasn't going to catch the leaders, and it looked like he was going to get run down from the outside. And he got it done in a race that it looked like he just never was traveling comfortably.
Can Newgrange do it again to this group? There's some new faces he's going to have to tackle as well, but he was certainly the best of that bunch on that day. Actually, the top 5 finishers coming out of that Southwest. And for Dash Attack, obviously disappointing performance in the Southwest, but the prior 2 starts from him, including that win in the Smarty Jones, which we're going to show you right now, if he can return to the first couple of races of his career, he could be a factor.
Yeah, his first 2 races were terrific. He's more of a closing type. He needs a little bit of help as far as pace goes. But this first 2 starts also came with racetracks that had moisture in it. Did that play a factor in his basic non-performance last time in the Southwest? Or was it a function of just stepping up again in company and maybe not being quite as good as them?
Some big works from him leading into Saturday. I think we're going to see a different Dash Attack than we saw in the Southwest. Of course, Barber Road, he was trying to run down Newgrange. Back-to-back seconds in these preps on the road to the Arkansas Derby and the Kentucky Derby. And it is part of the Grade 2 Rebel, this cross-country Pick 5 on Saturday. It starts with the Saudi Cup. The Stymie from New York, and the Rebel will close it out. Sequence begins tomorrow at 12:40 Eastern Time, and there is advance wagering for this sequence on Naira Bets. Obviously, we know the big faces who've made their impact on the Triple Crown Trail, like the winner of that Southwest, who, even though he won the Southwest, not collecting points for Baffert, but he'll be the one to beat. There's some new faces, though, showing up as well. With more, let's go to Gary and Lafitte.
Greg, one of them, Chasing Time, who we just touched on for trainer Steve Asmussen, looking for that 5th Rebel win. He has 3 going in the Rebel, Gary, going back to Chasing Time. Like, how do we know he's ready for this? Again, coming off a big win, but again, this will be his graded stakes debut.
It will be his graded stakes debut. I'll tell you how we know is the way that he dominated that allowance race that he won last time out. It was very impressive. The thing that worries me the most about this colt, he was really edgy in the starting gate. And we got to be watching for that tomorrow. They finally got him settled down right before the gate opened. But if he's edgy like that tomorrow and he gets himself left, he's going to be facing something that he hasn't had to face before, and that's taking dirt in his face.
It's going to be some kind of party for My Racehorse if he's able to pull off a mild upset. There were 55, 56 members of My Racehorse here when he won that allowance race here, Chasing Time. A serious, serious threat, major spoiler. And then you have the coach, Dwayne Lucas. Of course, he has the filly to beat in the Honeybee and Secret Oath. And he has Ethereal Road in the Rebel as well. His most recent effort where all looked hopeless right from the start, Gary.
Yes, he did. He's a big colt, and he got away awkward. His legs kind of buckled under. He was, as Wayne says, in another area code early on in that race and made this humongous run around the far turn. How he got up and won, I don't know. Don't expect him to be as far back tomorrow as what he was. Since that race where he stumbled, he broke him out of the starting gate in company with another horse, and he moved like a cat leaving there. I was at the starting gate watching the work that morning. I loved what I saw. So he can be more forwardly placed tomorrow than what he was in that last race.
On paper, race shape, pace. For that kind of deep closer, it helps when the pace is quick early on. On paper, does a race shape look like it could help him?
Yeah, it really does. Look like there's plenty of pace. Kavad down in the 1 hole, he's going to show speed, as well as New Grange. He's a speedy type of horse. He's going to be forwardly placed. And also Chasing Time will be forwardly placed. I think there's going to be plenty of pace early on.
And for Dwayne Lucas, as we mentioned, Ethereal Road in the Rebel, about 3 hours early in the Honeybee. Secret Oath, who has been absolutely sensational in the last couple of starts, Gary. What did you notice? What was most impressive to you about her win in the Martha Washington?
Well, it's been her last 2 races. She's really woken up with the extension of distances, and she's getting further tomorrow. In the Martha Washington, she won as far as the rider wanted her to win that day, in Louis Contreras, and I would expect to see the same type of performance tomorrow. She's a filly that's just oozing confidence in the morning training. Watched both of her last couple of works, and she's been impressive, Lafitte.
It's interesting, after the Southwest, it wasn't necessarily visually impressive, New Grange. Secret Oath was like, okay, she's for real. This is a filly we could be talking about the first Friday in May. So we asked Wayne Lucas, like, what makes her so good?
The thing that makes her so effective is that, as I see it, is she has that ability to accelerate in 3 or 4 strides. When she clocks one and she's off there, just off the pace a little bit and got one in her sights, in 3 or 4 strides, she breaks her heart. She doesn't hook into a horse stride for stride and battle. She puts them away in, if she can, in 50, 30, 40 yards and goes on with it. That is exciting, and that is great to watch. The great ones do that.
Wayne Lucas and the damage he has done in the Honeybee, seeking a record-breaking 6th overall win. Shouldn't surprise anyone with the kind of career and damage he's done with 3-year-old fillies over the years. He's trained 6 3-year-old filly champions and won 4 Kentucky Oaks. And by the way, trained Secret Oath's mother, Absent-Minded, bred and owned by Breland Farm. In this picture, for our audience watching, if you didn't have a rooting interest going into the Honeybee, and now you do, seeing mom and daughter together there, Absent-Minded and Secret Oath. Mom was really good here at Oaklawn Park. Wayne Lucas says this filly's going to be better and says she's very, very special. And as we mentioned, with 3-year-old filly, you want a Derby with Lucas on a filly winning colors. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and when the coach speaks, I listen. Talked to me that same morning that I was out to watch those horses work out of the gate at Thero Road, and he told me, he says, Gary, what do you think about running this filly in the Arkansas Derby? And I winked at him. I said, you've done it before, beat the boys with the girls before, so why not take a shot?
Yeah, Greg, wouldn't be a first time. Lucas having won the Arkansas Derby with a 3-year-old filly, Althea. First things first, tomorrow's Honeybee. Lucas seeking a record-breaking 6th win.
Yeah, thanks. That's great. That's great to see that picture. Mom and daughter there as well. I got to figure this filly has just been so dominant, especially that last start in stakes company. She's going to be a very short price tomorrow.
Very short price, and rightfully so. And she's by, unfortunately, the late Arrowgate. Didn't get to really have a career as a sire. She's very reminiscent of his stride, very long striding, covers a lot of ground. So what he was saying was some horses will get next to a horse and they fight it out. The length of her stride kind of makes her cruise past him. And she middle moved last time. She made a long, sustained run. It'll be interesting to see with the point system in place that Churchill Downs has now to qualify for the Kentucky Derby. It basically precludes fillies and mares, or fillies, excuse me, getting any points to get in the race. So he would have to step out and run against the boys in a race like the Arkansas Derby to procure those points necessary to get in. I'm not, I like fillies against fillies and colts against colts.
It adds intrigue to the game, and fans love it. We'll see. She's got to run a big race tomorrow to even earn that chance to do it.
Sure.
Most expecting to see that. We'll see what she can produce in the Grade 3 Honeybee. We're going to take a timeout. We have the big one coming up from Oaklawn. Their Friday feature still ahead. Prodigious Bay, one of many contenders. He's going to try and wire this field of 5-year-old Son of Byron for Ron Moquette when we return.
Alongside, and Basin grabs the lead. Basin and Jose Ortiz are running away on the hopeful.
First and foremost, it's a family operation. It's fun to be a fourth-generation president of Oaklawn and to see how we've grown. We've been in the same location. We haven't had to move across the street. That's kind of neat. It is about racing at Oaklawn. We tell everyone, especially our new employees, it's racing first. My great-grandfather, Louis Sella, built it in 1904. Charles Sella took over after him. John Sella took over after him, and then we had another Charles Sella, my father, take it over, and now we have Louis Sella. We like keeping the same names in the family. It helps with monogramming. I would sit in on meetings even at a young age. My father would take me and say, be quiet and sit in the corner, and I'd do and just listen. And throughout my life, I've been involved with racing, and it's always been really a part of me until finally the time when it was time to move in and commit. You can look at our media guide, which is published online as well, and look at that history. It's remarkable. We've beaten Prohibition, and we've gone through a couple of world wars and Vietnam and depressions, recessions. Truly the reason we're successful is for the reasons I just said, that we've been able to evolve, we've been able to change with the times. Beyond that, it's racing first, and really the oldest family in racetrack management in the United States. And we're very proud of that, and we're proud of that legacy. And we think that racing is successful and exciting and has a great future if you believe in it and if you put your heart and soul in it. And you go forward with that mentality. We see that with our employees, we see that with our trainers, our horsemen, we see that with the horse owners that fly in from coast to coast because of the excitement that we have here at Oaklawn.
Well, it truly is the house that the Sella family built. And speaking of their house, it is on the grounds at Oaklawn. As we continue to pan right there, it is.
I went to ride Board and Arrow in the Count Fleet Stakes for trainer Bill Spar, and I got on him the morning of the race, and I jogged him back, and I was going by the house, and Mr. Sella, the father, was out in the backyard drinking his coffee, watching the horses train. I mean, how nice is it just open your back door and walk out, and that's your backyard.
What a view, and what a history this racetrack has, too. We're so glad to be able to bring you all the action from this Oaklawn meet. We have their feature on this Friday card coming up, the 8th race, 2-turn mile, non-winners of 3 lifetime. As we look at game day play, it's been off since May of last year. Robertino Diodoro, Ramon Vasquez, when we last saw him, he was in a grade 3 exclusively for 3-year-olds, but a horse who definitely had shown some ability.
Yeah, I mean, he was beaten 7 lengths in the Matt win after showing good speed at Churchill Downs that day. He has flashed ability. He's stakes placed, actually stakes winner, listed stakes winner. When I look at horses coming off of layoffs, Greg, I look at the work tab, but not so much for times, but consistencies of work, the spacing between them. And this horse has worked pretty consistently 6 or 7 days. There was one little break where it was like 10 days, but that could be attributed to weather. It just speaks of a horse that is sound and doing well.
Meanwhile, this guy right here, 5-year-old son of Byron, Ron Moquette, has got a house on the backstretch who has a pretty good view of things as well. This horse is going to try and wire this group. 3rd off the bench for him, looking for his 3rd career win.
Yeah, he's got a good inside draw, short run to the turn, going a mile. And he looks like he should be pretty tough here, especially he's 3rd off the layup. That's supposed to be the optimum time. That's when they hit their zenith of fitness. Horse fought all the way down to the wire. He's shown an affinity for moisture in the racetrack. He's shown an affinity for Oaklawn Park. There's a lot to like about Prodigious Bay.
Including listening to Ron Moquette, who has said this horse is coming into this race extremely sharp and believes if he gets the right kind of trip, he's going to be very tough to beat. 2-1 favorite. There he is. David Cabrera will be aboard. And it just looks like he should have things his own way on the front end.
Yeah, going through the race, the horse directly outside of him at times has shown speed, but it's not what I would call a speed horse. And after that, maybe the 6 coming off the layoff, being fresh for Robertino Diodoro. He's laid close in the past, but usually on slowish kind of paces.
And there he is, that 2-horse coming onto the racetrack, Prodigious Bay, 2-1 favorite. Called a post coming up for the main event here on this Friday card. And Super Constitution, who you mentioned, he's taken some support as well, as is Dr. Jack the 5. Steve Asmussen, who is trying Oaklawn for the first time, comes in a race off synthetic in which he struggled over that surface.
Yeah, but Steve Asmussen, a guy who just, all-time winningest trainer in North America, winning at 16% there, 19% overall last year with 254 victories. So there's volume there. It's not like he's keeping a high percentage with a short sample. It's high volume.
Incredible. How many wins, first of all, just how many starters he sends out, period. And then to win at the percentage he wins at. We'll get to Dr. Jack in a minute because he is interesting. He actually won the first 2 starts of his career. Got kind of a late start as a 3-year-old, and he showed so much promise when he was with Pletcher. He put him in the Pegasus against Mandaloon.
Yeah, for his first 2 starts. I mean, this was a horse that looked like he could be headed towards the upper echelon of the 3-year-old division last year, which I feel was a very deep 3-year-old division last year.
9-5 favoritism now, dropping even lower. Prodigious Bay with David Cabrera. We're going to start things off, though, with Johnny's Fireball. He's a big price on the inside, 4-year-old son of Tonalist, who 2 back was a winner at Indiana.
Yeah, and coming off a bit of a freshening, hasn't been seen since last November, on his toes on the racetrack.
Next door, the favorite, Prodigious Bay with David Cabrera.
I think it's fair to say this is the house horse, the Sella family. Ron Marquette, they live on the grounds. I mean, you know, I'm sure they have barbecues, no? He should be very tough.
Super Constitution, he's 5-1. McLean Robertson, 2 back. He was a winner at Canterbury.
I think a horse that could have a say in how this race is run. He is a horse that has laid up close at times.
Twilight Blue we'll see next. He's been off since March of last year. This is going to be his 4-year-old debut. The last time we saw him, he was in the Grade 2 Rebel, which is taking place tomorrow.
Did win on a muddy track there last year, right before the Rebel.
Here's Dr. Jack. So, again, one of the first 2 starts of his career as a 3-year-old when he was with Pletcher. He's now with Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, and his last race put a line through it, but even his races before that just feels like he didn't make that step forward. Let's see if Steve's got him where he needs to be.
Another horse who was briefly on the Triple Crown Trail. Game day play.
Sometimes horses coming off of layups are sharp. Maybe this horse is a little bit eager early.
Restoring Hope. Big price, 30-1.
Big price for a horse that was claimed for $10,000 last time. Moves up considerably in company.
There's Last Martini, 17-1. He won at Remington 2 starts back.
Yeah, his last race leaves a lot to be desired.
And 9-1 outside Anti-Gravity, Jerry Hollendorfer, Tiago Pereira.
His start 2 back when there was moisture in the track was decent, and he'd like to see them heat up on the front end. I just don't see enough pace really to help his cause.
2 minutes to post here in the Friday feature from Oaklawn. Let's go back to Lafitte and Gary.
That house horse, Greg, looks very, very dangerous. Prodigious Bay for Louis Sella, and listening to that feature, so much pride, and recently expressing how excited he was, all those recently crowned champions at the Eclipse Awards that had performed right here at Oaklawn Park. As for Prodigious Bay, Gary, on paper, one to catch, maybe the one to beat.
Yeah, he may be the one to catch and the one to beat, but I see this race as a difficult race to really kind of handicap. It's one of those where if I was a rider, I'm going to have an open mind going out there. Prodigious Bay, yes, he looks like he's fast, but I think he's going to have some company up there. There's 4 horses here that have similar styles. And Super Constitution just to the outside. This horse wants to lay close to the pace, so throw that one into the kennel going into the first turn, and then along with Dr. Jack, the 5 horse. Look for him to be there in the slot, just off at the pace. But I'm going to land on Game Day. The back class, he hasn't run since the Matt win. He's coming off a very sharp workout here at Oaklawn Park where he had the black letter work for Robertino Diodoro, so he's showing his sharpness. He hadn't been rested for a while, so that's what I'm going to land on here that I think is going to get the best trip. Lafitte?
Game Day, Gary, currently at 4-1, circling back to the favorite in Prodigious Bay, who is 2-1. So, again, why do you think he might be vulnerable here?
Because of post position. He's drawn down on the inside, and I'd imagine that David Cabrera is going to try and put him on the lead, but he's going to have pressure on the outside. When he gets that pressure outside, he may not like that, may not be able to finish with the rest of the group.
How well is David Cabrera riding?
He's riding.
Wow.
Exceptionally well right now. Already a winner early on the card today. Had 1 winner. Huge week for him last week. Won 9 of 16 races, I believe,
Incredible.
last week, and just has been on some kind of roll.
First 4 on Monday. Prodigious Bay, the number 3, Super Constitution, who you touched on. If he's going to be successful, what does Luis Contreras need to do with him early on?
Well, I think that he's got to get good position and just see how the race sorts itself out. And as far as Anti-Gravity, the bottom horse, I think he is going to get some pace in here. I'm not disagreeing with Richie because we do handicap our races pretty much the same, not as a gambler but as a rider. And I think that is his only chance to bounce back and run the race that he ran 2 back, puts him right in the frame with everyone else.
That jockey, Luis Contreras, a date tomorrow, Secret Oath in the Honeybee, JK. Here on Super Constitution as we approach post time. What'd you come up with in the 8th?
Try and get back to JK in a moment here. Some technical issues as we take a look here at Super Constitution. Prodigious Bay, if he breaks clean and can get loose early, he's going to be pretty tough here.
And it just looks like that that's likely to happen. You know, there is some speed in here, and I do think the key to it is just outside of him in Super Constitution, and as well as how sharp is the 6 game day play. Some horses coming off of layoffs have that kind of nervous energy, and they show more speed off the freshening or the layoff, if you will, than they do if they're kind of in a rhythm and they're racing on a more consistent basis. Again, 9-horse field, full fields at Oaklawn, always several directions you can go, and that's why you get square prices. And we saw the last race, the Exacta with the favorite paid $68 with a fairly logical runner underneath because, again, there's just options.
Yeah, the trifectas too regularly at this racetrack. They're tremendous. This horse here, Dr. Jack, you look at specifically that last start. It was synthetic. Even before that, though, off the bench, sloppy racetrack. Is this horse just not what he was, or do you think still give him a chance and see what he does here?
Listen, if anybody can get him back to his first 2 races and beyond, where he is going to improve, it's Steve Asmussen. I mean, the guy's horses look great. This horse is making a beautiful impression on the racetrack. He could not look any better at all. And he's a horse that can be tactical. He came off a layoff on a sloppy track. It wasn't a bad race, beaten 5.5. The last race completely muddies up his form, dirties it up, makes him look worse than he is. He just didn't handle synthetic. Some horses just aren't as comfortable on the surface switch. Goes to Oaklawn, fires a really strong workout, 1 minute and 2/5. It means basically he went 12 seconds for every 1/8 of a mile in a work. That's a solid work, especially for a trainer who does not work his horses fast.
He is 8-1 on the board, trying to refine that form from early in his career. Though, numbers-wise, really, that race 2 back kind of fits in with what he's been doing. We'll see if he can step up here. They all likely, though, got to try and track down the 2. Prodigious Bay trying to win 3rd off the bench for Ron Moquette. Here's the feature, the 8th from Oaklawn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Game day play and Prodigious Bay shows speed. Twilight Blue is close up to the outside, Restoring Hope, and those 4 are going very, very fast early. Then Super Constitution, Dr. Jack, and Anti-Gravity, followed by Johnny's Fireball, and the trailer is Last Martini. Now 2 of them sprint away in a match race. Prodigious Bay inside and Twilight Blue outside. Twilight Blue half ahead in front. Prodigious Bay is second. Those 2 have sprinted 3 lengths clear from game day play. Dr. Jack, Super Constitution up the rail into a joint 5th now and 3.5 off the lead. Then Restoring Hope. Johnny's Fireball and Anti-Gravity both have 4 lengths to make up, and they are 4 in front of Last Martini. Midway on the backstretch, finish line is the 16th pole, and now it is bunching up. It is game day play moving up outside of Twilight Blue and Prodigious Bay, and now these 3 are across the track. Another 1.5 lengths to Dr. Jack, Johnny's Fireball, Restoring Hope, and Super Constitution. Anti-Gravity is second to last with 5 lengths to make up. Last Martini has trailed throughout, and Twilight Blue is getting away from Prodigious Bay now. Twilight Blue at the top of the stretch. Super Constitution has moved up into second. Meanwhile, Prodigious Bay is backed out. Then comes Anti-Gravity in the second, but it's into third, but it's Twilight Blue and Super Constitution at the top of the stretch, and Super Constitution puts ahead in front. Twilight Blue is second. Anti-Gravity is up to third. These 2 shoulder to shoulder. Twilight Blue inside. Super Constitution outside, and they get together 50 yards from the wire. Twilight Blue, Super Constitution, Twilight Blue. Twilight Blue beats Super Constitution. Anti-Gravity was third. Close for 4th, Dr. Jack and Johnny's Fireball.
Twilight Blue, he tried to make life real difficult on Prodigious Bay early on in this race, and then how about this stretch? Looks like some bumping here with Super Constitution.
Yeah, it looked like Super Constitution was poised to go by, and the 4 Twilight Blue came out into him not once, not twice, but it appeared to me 3 different times. If you could see it that clearly on the pan shot, the head-on should be much more dramatic. Right in here under a left-handed crop, came out into once, corrected him. Comes out into him again there, and that was the one that I think really made the difference. It'll be interesting to see. Every jurisdiction, the stewards adjudicate it differently. It appears to me, I'd love to get Gary's take on this, that the stewards allow the guys a little bit more leeway at Oaklawn, but that looked fairly dramatic to me.
Well, the head-on will tell the story, and we'll hopefully get that fairly soon in here, regardless of what happens here. I mean, this is a big effort off a long layoff for a horse making his 4-year-old debut.
Oh, this was a big effort. I mean, he did all the dirty work. He took it to the 2, Prodigious Bay, early, put him away, and he was the last man standing. Got a stiff challenge from the 3, Super Constitution, who sat a beautiful trip under Luis Contreras, got to save ground, came out. But I do think he came out fairly dramatically through the stretch. You can even see in the still shot there, his head's turned in. You know, at that point, the rider's going, I didn't do anything, but you're at the wire. You're through the wire already.
Inquiry sign as expected is up. And again, we'll wait and see how damaging it is with that head-on view. 4-3-9-1 very unofficially as Super Constitution here. Tables could turn.
You know, again, when you can spot it as clearly as we could watching it live on the head on the pan shot, the head-on usually is far more dramatic, and the margin of victory and/or defeat wasn't that much, and it seemed to thwart the Forest Twilight Blues' forward progress.
Hadn't raced since March of last year, trying to last a mile when he was quick out of the gate and actually got the lead from Prodigious Bay. You can see why maybe he was a little bit weary down the stretch.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, it was a tremendous effort from him, but keep an eye on the 2 horses. You see, he's already drifted out a bit. Now he comes out right there. He hasn't done it. Coming up there, there was one contact there, and then now coming up again. Well, he had already did the contact. Came out a long ways. Came out a long ways. Did bump him, but I thought it looked more dramatic on the pan shot than this.
Well, here it is. He goes to the left-handed riding crop right there, and it gets tight. He does it again, and there's the bump.
That's the one that could be problematic. Now, you know, after that, Luis Contreras on the 3 Super Constitution was going to a left-handed crop, then drifted away from him. If there's always space, and you follow a horse out without making the contact, there shouldn't be a change. But there was contact before that.
The sign is down. We will see if this goes official here in a moment. But, yeah, looking at that head-on, it's certainly not as damning as we would have thought.
The pan shot, to me, looked much more dramatic, which is unusual, than the head-on. And they tend to allow the boys, you know, the riders, a bit more leeway there. They let them play. So, honestly, I think it's a good call. I wouldn't have taken it down.
Big effort off a long layoff for Twilight Blue, and it beats a pretty good group of older horses in this comeback spot for him in what's the first start of his 4-year-old campaign.
And a very game effort, too. I mean, you know, when we talk about race riding, that's when we're talking about race riding, going to the edge of the rules, but not going over the line and breaking the rules. And, boy, he walked a tightrope there, Francisco Arrieta. I mean, he was right on the line, but he didn't go over it.
Doing all that, as you mentioned, all that dirty work up front on the front end, battling that speedster Prodigious Bay, getting the lead from him, and then still enough in the stretch to hold off Super Constitution. Join us early tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern start time on FS2. Saudi Cup coverage presented by Run Happy. Of course, the big one beginning in that 12 p.m. Eastern hour, $20 million Saudi Cup. We hope to see you then. And then, of course, FS2 coverage begins at 1 Eastern on FS2. We'll see Secret Oath, the standout for Dwayne Lucas, trying to continue on a path maybe to the Arkansas Derby against the boys. And who knows what after that. Meanwhile, Newgrange putting that perfect record on the line for Bob Baffert. He's the one to beat in the Rebel. Barber Road, runner-up to him last time out. Going to try and turn the tables. We'll see you tomorrow.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series.